of your personal and business banking needs, as well as access to over 200 ATM locations. Royal Banks Missouri also offers convenient interactive teller machines that will connect you with a banker virtually and in real time, available at all their branch locations, and those are open weekdays from 8 to 7 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. That's Royal Banks Missouri, the community bank for your community. Visit them on the web at royalbanksofmo.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Speaking of Levi Hart at Thrive.
Give STL Day, I get a call from the office because someone had called in. I must have Googled this, found just our office phone, and had given $10,000.
Wow.
Between being alive with you guys, walking out to my car. So News Talk STL listeners, you're the reason why the babies have the loudest voice in the city.
Radio does work.
Radio works.
It does. Here we are.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for the great cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means barbecues, graduation parties, and spending time with friends and family. And Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
When you've got something to say, be heard loud and clear.
If they'll just do what they were voted in to do.
This party needs to get a backbone. They need to get some spine.
Join the conversation. St. Louis's place to talk.
The Democrats and the Republicans can give us all the lip service they want, but what they need to do is take action today.
101.9 and 94.1.
You have to take a stand sometimes.
This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion.
There is no way this is real. This is Parked.
Don't miss Parked with Abby Hornacek. Streaming now, only on Fox Nation. Sign up at foxnation.com.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, July 18th. This is the Fox News Rundown. Final night of the Republican National Convention on tap in Milwaukee this evening. Former President Trump expected to deliver a speech with a focus on unity. Last night, his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance, officially accepted the nomination.
My friends, tonight is a night of hope, a celebration of what America once was, and with God's grace, what it will soon be again.
This as the investigation continues into the Trump assassination attempt last weekend. Last night, GOP Senators Marsha Blackburn and John Barrasso said they confronted Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle at the RNC, saying she can run, but she cannot hide, referring to the Secret Service's response to the shooting. No public appearances scheduled for President Biden today after he tested positive yesterday for COVID. He's isolating and recovering with mild symptoms at his home in Delaware. This as former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi has reportedly reached out to the president, telling him he cannot defeat Donald Trump and to step aside and not drag down other candidates on the Democratic ticket seeking re-election. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL. 101.9, 94.1, and NewsTalkSTL.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We'll speak with Steve Bucci of Heritage about the Iranian plot to assassinate Donald Trump. And Tim Jones is at the convention, and we'll talk with Bill Eigel and Eric Burleson, who are there too.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
I'm so tired of my water smelling like rotten eggs, iron-bound. It makes my clothes and home smell, and my sink and faucet look dirty. I'm calling Jones Air and Water Treatment for their solution to this pollution.
Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to your pollution. Call now for your free water analysis at 636-899-1040 and live with clean, great-tasting water. That's 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Pat Fader of Comprehensive Chiropractic. Doc, I hear you all have a new treatment program for everyone's chronic knee pain.
Tim, that's right. We are helping patients with chronic knee pain by addressing the root cause of their condition.
And what makes your program so unique?
Well, Tim, many programs focus on just one component of the problem, the structural component. Our program focuses on the metabolic and neurologic component to complete the picture and improve our patients' outcomes. We get to the root cause of what is driving inflammation in a person's body and address it directly.
For your chronic knee pain and more, visit cchiropractic.com. All information, make an appointment at cchiropractic.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, thought I was in a remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show doing the time warp. Remember that? Let's do the... All right, okay. Tuesday, I once again met my old debating partner, Jon Stewart, on his home turf, The Daily Show. This came together fairly quickly to show the country that political discourse can actually be fun. It doesn't have to be hateful. The banter between Stewart and I was quick, pithy, and the mostly young studio audience seemed to enjoy it. We did it because of the shooting on Saturday. I mean, the hate is just too much. We got to tamp it down. We got to set an example. Now, this kind of détente really happens anymore because it requires talent and discipline to conduct a political discourse without using the F word and references to the Third Reich. Cheap invective is easy. Concise framing of your points is not. America, as we all know, is awash with haters on the media who want to harm their political opponents, not best them using facts. They want to hurt them, destroy them. We have become a mean country because of that, with massive assistance from social media. Cowards can now throw vicious rhetorical bombs without consequence. Jon Stewart and I conducted a clinic Tuesday night. It's a display well worth watching. Anger always makes things worse. Humor does the exact opposite. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Some nice weather tonight with lowering humidity and a low down to 64 degrees. Some outlying areas maybe even touch the 50s. But it's going to be a nice mild start. A warm but nice and low humidity day. Mostly sunny and 82 degrees for the high. Nice break from typical July heat. We do it again on Friday. A low of 62, a high of 82. Mostly sunny. What a way to end off the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Missouri.
This message presented by the MSH SAA and the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
So what did you think of J.D. Vance's first national address as a vice presidential candidate? Let me know. Phone lines are going to be open pretty much all day today. We got a few interviews that we're going to do, but 314-912-1019. And as always, we're watching all the social media comments as well. And of course, Donald Trump is going to give his address tonight. Our very own Tim Jones is going to be with us in just under an hour to not just give us his take on J.D. Vance's address, but preview what he thinks we're going to hear from Donald Trump and what he hopes we're going to hear from Donald Trump. All right. Speaking of the convention, Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans was with us on Wednesday. She's at the convention and gave us kind of a firsthand account of what she's experiencing there. Here's the update that she gave us. How much of all these big name speakers were you able to catch there at the convention yesterday, Mary Theresa?
Oh my gosh, I got a list here. Sarah Sanders, Vivek Ramaswamy, Marco Rubio, Eric Schmidt, Ron DeSantis, who, by the way, gave the speech of his life, Nikki Haley, talk about unifying. Oh, my gosh. Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, Laura Trump, who was flawless, Carrie Lake, Tom Cotton. But I'll tell you, the overarching theme that is absolutely thick here, and that is unity. We are unified. And if you doubted that after last night, you're nuts, because the list I just gave you, these people, these absolute American patriots love this country. They were so strong, and they have put all of the nonsense behind them, and we are a united front.
Mary Theresa, let me real quick follow up, because I know Gabe and Stell both have questions for you as well. You mentioned Eric Schmidt. Being there, for him to get a primetime speaking slot on that particular day, first of all, tells me the Republican Party looks at Eric as a rising star. But how well did Eric do there in person? He looked great on TV. Did he do Missouri proud when he gave his speech, in your opinion?
Well, the Missouri delegation went wild because we did not know he was going to speak.
Oh, nice surprise.
We were not prepared for that. And we just went wild. It was so awesome. And so I think you're exactly right. The Republican Party looks at Eric Schmidt as a rising star, and they should.
Good morning, Mary Theresa. Gabe here. So was
Hi,
there?
Gabe.
Hey, was there a particular line or a particular series of discussions that came from the states that really impacted you in the way you're looking at the election this year?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, I was hoping so.
The one thing, and it came from Eric Schmidt as well, and that is we all came from very, very limited roots. Nobody on that stage last night came from what would you call it? A silver spoon in their mouth. Mm-hmm. They all came from the working class, and they're proud of it, and they have broken through the barriers, and look where they are. They're on the national stage. So that tells us that anybody, if you want to be a leader and you want to be an American and you want to move this country forward for the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that, you can do it. You just have to pull your bootstraps up, and the opportunities are out there. You have to work through them. And Eric Schmidt was very proud last night.
Yeah, that was a big theme of Ben Carson's speech too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good morning, Mary Stell here. Good to hear that you're having a good time there in Milwaukee. You didn't mention Baby Dog, by the way, which was, I think, maybe the first dog I've ever seen at a convention.
Well, we might have a new national mascot.
That could be. That could be it. And on a little bit different note, tell us just a bit about the moms, dads, husbands, and wives who shared their painful stories last night.
Oh, talk about it just goes to your heart, and it goes back to if you're dealt with a bad lot, push through. That's what America is all about, and that's what the American story. And hearing those American stories, oh my gosh, it just makes you realize you can go right to the top, but you have to work it, and you have to push through. You cannot give up on yourself.
We're visiting with Mary Theresa McLean from the St. Louis City Republicans, who's at the RNC, this week as well. Okay, you and I, Mary Theresa and I, were texting a little bit back and forth before the announcement of J.D. Vance being selected, because even up really almost to the last minute, they did a pretty good job of keeping the announcement under wraps until Donald Trump released that on True Social. What's the reaction to J.D. Vance being picked? Because, we know he was in the conversation, but I think a lot of people thought, well, he's too young. There's other people out there with more experience, that sort of thing. What's the vibe of J.D. Vance now officially being the running mate of Donald Trump at the convention?
Well, I think people at first were stunned because many thought it was going to be Nikki Haley or it was going to be Vivek. And then when it was J.D. Vance, it was like, oh, okay. And people just kind of, thought for a few minutes, and I can go with J.D. Vance. It was just, they just accepted him. It was a quiet acceptance, but it was very assured. It's phenomenal. And 39 years old, not a big political background, has been picked, and people are accepting of it. It just feels like it's a firm decision, and people are gathering behind him.
Mary Theresa, it sounds like there's like you said, like you started, that there's a ton of unity in the room where you are. On the outside here of those watching, there are a lot of conservatives who are worried that we're slipping a little bit too far away from the standard conservative values. Is there any of that you're feeling at the convention?
No, I have never felt or seen such unity within the GOP.
Well, I guess that's that.
Yeah, because that was a lot. I mean, that's Nikki Haley when she said, I was invited by Donald Trump to speak, and it was unity. It was clearly that this is the message right now because, frankly, the last couple of years have been kind of bruising when you look at the primaries, which they're supposed to be. I mean, that's what you do.
Wait a minute. You said bruising?
Yeah.
I think you should say bloody.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very, very bloody. But and I'm also one of those weirdos who thinks that's not necessarily a bad thing as you try to vet out, the candidates that you're going to, have rise to the top when it comes to nomination. But one of the things that Stell mentioned this earlier, the left tends to do better than the right is to sort of circle the wagons. When it comes to picking a candidate. Now, whether the left is going to be able to do that this year, they're kind of in disarray as well. That's clearly the message. And like you started off saying there, Mary Theresa, is that it's all unity, unity, unity. Okay, you've had the debates sort of over the platform things. You've got, you've had the primary and the caucuses with the candidates. And now that's the message from the RNC. Of those who have taken the time and the expense to go to the convention, obviously you've kind of pre-bought into that because you feel passionately about the party in the future. What's the messaging that you're taking from the convention when you and all of your colleagues get back to Missouri and Illinois and everywhere else around the country?
Well, let me first, before I answer that, say, because you mentioned Nikki Haley, what Nikki Haley did with her speech was so real, so from her heart.
Authentic?
It was very authentic. Every word that came out of her mouth, I felt was truly her words. They were not to appease or to try to give some kind of false unity so that she looks good. I felt like every word was absolutely her own and that she meant it 1,000%. And I think the unity that is so strong is a large part of due to Nikki Haley. Okay, so now I said I was going to answer your question. I forget what it was.
Well, it was what's okay. So, I mean, everybody who's at the convention, you came in with the idea of, we're going to unify. The whole point of being here is to come out of it ready for the elections. What's the messaging that you all are going to be bringing back? Because there are people who are active at the local level or, people who generally are on the right who are still skeptical about some things, whether it's a platform or whatever. So what is it that you and your colleagues are going to be taken back from the convention other than a lot of swag and you had a great time as you head into the next set of elections?
It goes back to the unity. It's that we have a job to do. We have to get Trump elected. We have the strongest leader we have ever known in our lifetimes in Trump, and that we have to bring that message back, and we have to show that this is the party of unity. We can't just talk about it. We have to show it. And I think every one of us here feels that, and that we're just a united front, and we're going to go back to our communities, and people are going to hear it from our mouths, but they're going to feel it, because that is that level of unity you can't fake. You can't. It's going to come through. If you don't mean it from your heart, people are going to pick up on it. The antenna are just going to go up, and people are going to say, "Yeah, you're just saying that." And speaking of swag, I don't see a lot of swag for sale around here. Like I wanted to come back with some stuff, and I'm just not. It's like, where is it? I think due to security, a lot of things are not how they have been in the past. We're not seeing complete schedules. Everything is just as they happen, and it's because of security, and they have no choice. They have to do it that way.
You're going to have to go out and buy some cheese. Just bring some cheese back.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm driving, so I could maybe make a trip to a place to get some great Wisconsin cheese.
There you go. All right, Mary Theresa, just got a minute or so left here. What about something? Because we had a comment on some of our social media. We've talked about the big names, the political names, but what about the unknown names, the parents of crime victims and some of the people who were put up on the stage and on television,
the everyday Americans, as they called them,
talking about the effects of these horrible Biden policies and leftist policies. What kind of impact did they have, and are they having?
Well, I've never felt like this before. Well, I've never been to a convention, but when I've been to other events and people come that have been invited to speak, that have been dealing with everyday drama like we all do, you get the sense that they're your neighbor. You've never met them before. They come on stage. You've never seen them before. Many you've never heard of their story. But as soon as they come on stage and they start to talk, all of a sudden you feel, oh my gosh, this could be somebody in, Princeton Heights here in St. Louis. You just get the feeling that this is someone that is close to you, so that it makes their story close to you. And it goes back to unity.
We've got your first morning news dump of the day coming your way just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Don't forget, if you're not following us on Twitter or X, we're at News Talk STL. All one word, really easy. Let's connect there.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Listen anytime.
It happens
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Everywhere.
Every day continues to bring more news.
With the News Talk STL app. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Sievers JCB is where you need to go for the industry's best compact track loaders, featuring the iconic single-arm JCB power boom and side door entry. JCB compact track loaders are stronger and safer than conventional twin-arm machines, and they deliver the power and performance you need. For a limited time, get financing rates as low as 0.99% on new JCB compact track loaders, or take a generous cash incentive. Stop into your local Sievers JCB or visit SieversJCB.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL Haunted Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
You don't know me, but I'm your brother.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, JD Vance makes it official. He's in for the campaign.
He's ready.
I don't think anybody thought that was going to be anything other than that, but that's not a surprise. But the pomp and circumstance happened at the RNC on Wednesday. Don't get your hopes up. Rumors that WashU is ending its gender abuse of children. Those rumors appear to be false.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I know. And could a St. Louis product be headed back to the Lou to play football here? Again, this is kind of interesting.
Okay.
All right, 5:53 right now. Get still here. I'm Mike. All right, Senator J.D. Vance, now officially the vice presidential candidate of the Republican Party. He spoke at the RNC in Milwaukee last night. Here's a little bit of what he said.
Tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
All right, and we've got more on this a little bit later on, including an update from Wisconsin. Tim Jones is at the convention, and we're going to hear from him here in just about 40 minutes or so. Now, among the speakers, they always have a huge list of speakers at these things, but former Trump trade advisor Peter Navarro.
Oh,
was
yes,
there.
indeed. Yep.
He literally was released from prison and then a few hours later was in Milwaukee speaking at the RNC after being released from prison.
Went from Miami to Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. Now, normally you go from Miami to Milwaukee, you're saying, ooh, I downgraded, but at least he's not in prison in Milwaukee. Now, he had some interesting stuff to say here, slamming the abuse of the justice system under the Biden administration.
And here's the thing, when politics fails, the investigations and prosecutions begin. They did it to me. They're going to do it to Trump. But hear me out. They've also done it to Catholics, pro-life activists, and parents who are just standing up for the kids at school board meetings.
Very, very strong angle to take at the convention to remind people of all of those things that have been done to not just the political types, but anybody who's been dissenting over the last few years.
Yeah, he was the high point of the night for me, and I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely. And he really blew the roof off when he showed up, and everybody went nuts.
Yeah.
Long applause time for him when he showed up.
Yeah, interesting stuff here. And of course, Donald Trump speaks tonight at the RNC. All right, you may have seen the social media post saying that WashU's so-called pediatric transgender clinic, I don't know if I can make the air quotes come through the radio like that, but you may have seen those posts saying that it's shutting down. Well, unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. Officials there tell Channel 5 that they have scaled back what they do because of potential lawsuits and the very weak law the Missouri lawmakers passed, but they are still operating there and they are still doing bad things to kids and helping parents abuse kids in the gender dysphoric way.
Hate to hear that.
Yeah. All right. President Biden has, okay. We're told that he's tested positive for COVID-19 while campaigning in Las Vegas.
After experiencing mild symptoms during his trip to Nevada, the president tested positive for the virus. A statement from the White House press secretary says the president will self-isolate at home in Delaware and will continue to carry out all of his duties fully during that time. Before his infection was announced, Mr. Biden greeted diners at a Las Vegas restaurant. The illness comes as the president faces increasing pressure from Democrats to end his re-election bid. Greg Clugston reporting.
Okay, so essentially he's back in the basement.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw that yesterday. Of course, the day before, he's like, the only thing that would make me in the campaign is a medical condition. And suddenly he has COVID. And I'm going,
what are the odds?
I don't know about this one, guys.
Speaking of Vegas, what are the odds?
Right. Oh, good night. All right. I want to talk about this a little bit later on because we know that I'm the guy who is the one who does not like getting into the, conspiracy theories and all that. But come on, really? Oh, geez. All right. We'll get to that just a little bit here. All right. The Battlehawks draft a homegrown player during the UFL's college draft on Wednesday. So with their second pick, they used it to select Mizzou's Corey Schrader. Yeah, who played high school ball at Lutheran South. Now, after initially playing for Truman State, Schrader then walked on to Mizzou's team, and last season he led the SEC in rushing yards. He's now at a rookie camp with the San Francisco 49ers, where he's getting a tryout. He was not drafted by the NFL, but he is getting a tryout. If the 49ers do not sign him, then the Battlehawks have the right to do so in the UFL.
Oh, that'd be awesome to have him on the
That'd be
team.
fun, yeah.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly two choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. So enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me.
You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more.
800-537-3908. 800-537-3908. 800-537-3908. That's 800-537-3908.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Former President Trump's vice presidential running mate introduces himself to America. Senator J.D. Vance took the stage last night at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Town Hall News White House correspondent Greg Clugston is there.
In his acceptance speech here at the GOP convention, Vance cast himself as a fighter for working-class Americans who feel left behind. He shared his life story, going from childhood poverty to the halls of Congress, and he made a direct appeal to Rust Belt voters, specifically naming Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
I promise you this, I will be a vice president who never forgets where he came from.
The 39-year-old Vance also emphasized the youth he brings to the Trump ticket, noting that Joe Biden has been a Washington politician longer than he's been alive. Greg Clugston, Milwaukee.
The convention also heard from a former Trump aide fresh out of prison after 4 months for defying a congressional subpoena.
I'm Peter Navarre. I went to prison so you won't have to. This is my beautiful girl. She did the time with me. That's what these Democrats don't understand. They do this to our families. She's my girl. Yeah.
And tonight, former President Trump will address the convention. Senator Marsha Blackburn among those demanding the resignation of Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. Blackburn says she is appalled. The Secret Service was aware of a threat before former President Trump took the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was shot and wounded. China's communist overlords have endorsed policies aimed at strengthening national security and bolstering China's tech sector. Back in a Russian court today, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gerskovich standing trial on spy charges. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures down 61 points. NASDAQ futures 63 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
What does it take for organizations to triumph? It takes the trust of people like you. And that's why an estimated 14 million givers look for the ECFA seal. Over 2,700 leading ministries across the U.S. display ECFA seal, demonstrating that they live up to biblical standards of financial accountability, responsible governance, and trust. So next time you donate, look for the ECFA seal, a widely recognized symbol of trust. Visit ecfa.org.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
First, look forward, Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Some nice weather tonight with lowering humidity and a low down to 64 degrees. Some outlying areas maybe even touch the 50s. But it's going to be a nice mild start. A warm but nice and low humidity day. Mostly sunny and 82 degrees for the high. Nice break from typical July heat. We do it again on Friday. A low of 62, a high of 82. Mostly sunny. What a way to end off the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
1019 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
Hey, guess what, guys?
What?
Joe has COVID.
You know what? I kind of saw this coming.
All right. I have thoughts.
I have many thoughts.
Let's get to this here in a second. 6:05 right now.
Wait a minute. He had 30 shots.
That's right. Exactly. Oh, my goodness. All right. By the way, keeping the secret in the Secret Service, the more we find out about Saturday's assassination attempt, just the worse it looks for them. Let's talk about that around 6:20. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, real quick, before I get to the Joe has COVID thing, I know that most of us and most of the people who are listening are not going to be voting in this primary, but the Cori Bush versus Wesley Bell race is really interesting. I say Cori Bush versus Wesley Bell. Maria Chappelle-Nadal is also in the race, but she's not going to be a factor in it. So, but it's really kind of interesting from a couple different perspectives here. When you look at the money, Wesley Bell, cash on hand, has about $2.5 million.
Okay.
Which pretty much par for the course for what you should have in a congressional race, at least in one that's a safe blue or safe red district right here.
Right.
Cori Bush only has $570,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's just not being able to raise money.
That's barely going to cover her security expenses.
I know. I mean, it's going to go right into her husband. But,
her husband. Yes, exactly. He's the head of her security detail, you know.
So basically what we're seeing, here's the pattern. Here's why I'm finding this so interesting. One, my guess is I think Wesley Bell's going to win this race. I think that outside of, the core, I think even some of the hard left activists in St. Louis have had it with Cori Bush and her ilk's antics on this. I mean, she's done nothing even by their standards other than grandstand and launder money, basically. So when Wesley Bell's bringing in all this money, some of it's from within the district. A lot of it's not within the district, which is, again, it just happens. The accusation, basically, there's two accusations now against him.
Okay.
Basically, he's in the pocket of the Jews.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's the Jewish lobby, is AIPAC. He's getting all these Republican Jewish donors. So it's a lot of anti-Semitism coming out of the hard left, trying to attach words like AIPAC and Zionist and all this sort of stuff. They're doing everything they can to go to left-wing black voters and say, look, Jewish people like him, so therefore he's the enemy. And so that's one aspect of what's happening. And they're barely coding their language on that. The other thing they're doing, and Maria Chappelle-Nadal is doing this more than the others, is they're trying to spread rumors that Wesley Bell's gay.
Okay.
Right. I mean, and before, because I'm not going to make that accusation without having some receipts on this.
Okay.
But Maria Chappelle-Nadal retweets out somebody named Jason Rivera, who I think has a podcast or radio show or something like that. It says, I don't know what to believe at this point because Cori and friends accuse him, meaning Wesley Bell, of having a boyfriend.
Do you condemn this type of homophobia and anti-LGBTQ something symbol plus fear mongering that
Symbol.
Corey just laughed off? Just cruel. No wonder she missed the Pride Parade. She's a fraud. Okay. So then when I followed the trail down just a little bit, Maria Chappelle Nadal tweets out, well, he does. But my problem is Wesley Bell sleeping with his subordinates, period. So making that accusation.
That's a different
Right.
kind of accusation, isn't it?
Right. It is. Now, I haven't seen this reported anywhere, but she actually had some other, accusations of him that along those lines. Listen, I've never heard that rumor before in my life. I know he's got at least one kid and one baby mama out there. My wife's worked with Wesley when she was at Lindenwood University through the whole Ferguson stuff and everything. Prior, ironically, to her name being Ferguson, Wesley was at my wedding. Wesley, and it was funny because Wesley had a date to the wedding, and she was. I mean, I have no idea whether he's dating her still or not, but beautiful. And I remember talking to him at the reception at our wedding, and I'm like, dude, what's going on here? You gonna get this one? You're gonna lock this one down? He's like, I'm trying. And I have no idea. That was obviously over 6 years ago. But what's funny to me, and I have not seen anything that indicates the Wesley's gay or not. I don't know. I don't really care. But it's funny that the party of tolerance, the movement of tolerance, is throwing the Jews and he's gay
as accusations,
right, to Democratic voters.
Right.
That's what's happening. I mean, listen, I'm using blunt language that is not in polite society I'm supposed to be saying, but this is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's what's
this
happening.
is what they're arguing right now. Now I will tell you this, because some people are saying, well, he's never been married. Well, first of all, Wesley Bell's a workaholic. You can like or not like his work, but the guy works way more than is healthy, to be really honest. And again, if he's elected, the votes really aren't going to change that represent St. Louis.
Sure.
He's going to vote with the hard left. He's going to vote with the extreme left. If Joe Biden's reelected, or if whoever they put up there is elected, he's going to vote with them. If Donald Trump's elected, he's going to vote against him. And that's just the way that it's going to go. I mean, basically whatever Hakeem Jeffries says it needs to happen, that's what he's going to do, just like what Cory Bush does. Except with Cory Bush, it's like, what's AOC say, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I just found it fascinating that that when they start losing, they go back to who and what they are, which are bigots.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've been arguing for the longest time that liberals, particularly those on the left, particularly Democrats, have always been the most bigoted party. Of course, the Democrats were the main supporters of the institution of slavery in America. They were the ones who created the KKK and Jim Crow laws and segregation and all of those things. And they tried to hold on to them as long as they could. They tried to rebrand in the late 60s, early 70s, which was largely successful, probably due to their taking over of various institutions. And they've been billing themselves as the champions of all these various minority groups, but every time you put a little pressure on them, and I think character is revealed by pressure. You put a little pressure on them, and suddenly the racism comes out. Suddenly the anti-Semitism comes out. Suddenly the homophobia comes out, which is the most fascinating of them to me. I think it's just kind of par for the course that whenever they feel as though their power is threatened, they're going to throw everything at you, including accusations about things that should be irrelevant,
right? Or that they would celebrate.
Oh yeah, that they would celebrate. Absolutely.
Otherwise, they would celebrate unless somebody is dissenting or in this case, challenging an incumbent and likely to beat them.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it all the time. Is hey, this Republican is against gay marriage because he's a closeted gay.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, it's like, okay, so what are you actually trying to say? What is the accusation here?
Right.
Because you're making an accusation, which is suggesting that the other person is nefarious for some reason. It's because they're gay. That's what it is.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be fun to watch the drama from here. So get the popcorn.
Yeah. This is very much a popcorn race because it's not like I'm voting in it.
No,
it's not going to change, like you said, the representation of my district. Sadly, this is all going on in my district.
He'll be more effective. Wesley Bell will be more effective at bringing federal money into the district, and he'll be more effective in that way.
Probably, and the Republicans aren't going to be able to fundraise off of every dumb thing that Cory Bush says. So I suppose there's there's a net negative on for the Republicans per se. But I think it's a positive for Missouri to have Wesley Bell in there versus Cori Bush.
He would be much better. But
she's a national embarrassment.
Nationally, Republicans want Cori Bush to win that race. It's funny because their arguments like Republicans are trying to oust Cori Bush. No, Republicans want her in there because that district's going to be Democratic no matter what.
Yeah.
And she provides so much fodder for Republican fundraising and Republican campaigns around the country.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick here. I know we just got a couple minutes left here. So the announcement comes out that Joe Biden has COVID again.
My radar is like
okay, I'm the one who gets annoyed with everybody racing to the conspiracy theories on everything.
But
come on.
Yes.
Come on.
One of us. One of us. Okay, no, but seriously though, I've been contending that in order to get Joe Biden out of the race, especially in the most gentle way possible, they're going to have to come up with an illness or some other reason why he cannot continue, even though he would otherwise be capable or willing and all those other things. And I suggested illness was going to be and I mean, I joked facetiously that, they're going to say Grandpa fell in the shower and he broke his hip and then just kind of usher him off. But you know what? COVID makes a whole lot of sense because one, they get to fearmonger about COVID again.
Yep, that's right.
Two,
he didn't wear his mask.
Two, they get to blame long COVID for his brain fog. Because if you recall, brain fog is one of those symptoms of quote unquote long COVID. So I guarantee you they're going to say, oh man, yeah, apparently he's had long COVID for this time, and this is basically a flare up, and it's hurting his health, and we've got to protect him. He's in a vulnerable class of individuals, so he's going to take a step back and nurse himself back.
Thank God he's had 15 shots, because otherwise it'd be so much worse.
Because when that debate happened, they'll just be saying, "Well, it was that long COVID thing." And
yeah, that's what it was.
That's why he had a bad debate night.
I remember just the day before he was asked, "What would it take to have you not running?" Not running. He goes, "I'm in." He goes, "Only like a medical condition would." And then 24 hours later, he has COVID.
Yeah, that's
COVID,
it. That's
COVID.
it. COVID. Yeah.
COVID. We were going to say leprosy, but nobody would believe that. So COVID.
Yeah, well, by the way, he was milling around some local diner the night before, wasn't he? And now he's telling everybody, "Oh yeah, I had COVID, by the way." As I'm hovering over your food and
children,
shaking hands and sniffing children.
Did I say that? He did sniff a child.
Of course he did.
Yeah, it happened.
That's how he rolls.
Oh my gosh! All right. Okay. So, by the way, there was an interview that Biden did yesterday where he actually said, "I'm in better physical shape than Donald Trump is."
Did he really say that?
He actually said that.
Wow. Out loud.
It's the long COVID break.
There you go.
Delirious.
Listen, Donald
COVID.
Trump is, pretty damn tough for a 78-year-old guy.
Yeah.
But, Trump's not in that great a physical condition. Too many. He likes McDonald's too much. Let's just put it that way.
But we did talk about what happened after he got jumped on. He got piled on by the Secret Service there, and he pops up.
Yep. Tough guy, fights through the Secret Service. Tough guy for his age, without a doubt. But for Joe Biden, who could get blown over by the wind, to say I'm in better shape. Come on, man. Oh gosh. All right, let's do the update on this. What we're trying to find out regarding the assassination attempt against Trump. The more we find out, and we're not finding out much, there's a lot of misdirection happening here.
I'm very confused.
Let's talk about this around 620.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You're gonna blow us all away.
St. Louis is all about sports, and now is your chance to take home a one-of-a-kind Cardinals jersey. On Saturday, July 27th, the Birds on the Bat host the Washington Nationals, and that night, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a Cardinals basketball jersey presented by Air National Guard. Don't miss your chance to add this unique jersey to your collection. That's the Cardinals basketball jersey, Saturday, July 27th. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Cardinals. Hola, amigos. This is Cardinals broadcaster Polo Asensio, inviting you to join us on Sunday, July 28th, when the Cardinals host the Washington Nationals. On this day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a Cardinals polo. No, not me. A polo shirt featuring an STL all over print design. Thanks to Busey Bank. This is the first promo of its kind, so it's one you don't want to miss. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
If it's radical to want to continue to cut and rein in the size and scope of our ridiculously engorged government, then you call me a radical every day from Sunday. If it's radical to cut taxes, give children and parents the choice of getting a great education, then call me a radical.
Tim Jones, you radical. Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Your everlasting summer, you can see it fading fast. So you grab it.
All right, the more we know about Saturday's attempt on Donald Trump's life, the worse the whole thing looks. Now, to me, and I think Gabe and I are starting to go different directions on this.
Yeah, probably.
It's just looking like more and more and more extreme incompetence of people who are hired and put into high-level positions because of their ideologies. You know, we're seeing a lot made about DEI in the Secret Service, and I think that's a factor. I don't think that explains everything. But here's the thing. We know a little more than we did a couple days ago, but we still don't know most of what happened here.
Right.
All right. By the way, Tim Jones is in Milwaukee. He's at the RNC. Go to our social media. You can see him and Congressman Eric Burleson. Because remember, they served together in the State House, right, way back in the day. They are Freedom Caucus buddies. So he's got an update for us from Milwaukee at 6:35. It's 6:21 right now. Okay, so here's what's I think is fascinating to me, having been in broadcasting for so long, is that an attempt on a former president's life is now meme-worthy.
Yes.
I mean, how many memes and stuff are you seeing about sloped roofing?
Oh yeah, the jokes are what? Hey, I made a slope roof joke yesterday.
Yeah,
so that's where we are.
And Secret Service Barbies.
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
I've seen one of those.
Oh boy.
Because of the 3 Secret Service Barbies, 2 of them were cute. The other one that everybody's looking at is just was a fish out of water.
She seemed to be the most discombobulated on the day.
Right. Yeah. Completely incompetent, had no clue what she was going to be doing. And so we've gone from being, within an inch of a political leader losing his life with every ramification. Believe me, if that shooting, thank God it was not, but if it were successful, you have any idea what the kind of chaos we would be living in right now, especially during the Republican National Convention.
It would be huge.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, what would have happened. I'm just glad we're not dealing with it. So, for instance, the director of the Secret Service, Ms. Cheatham there, she was confronted.
Miss Cheeto.
Cheeto, excuse me. Yeah.
Cheeto, as Elon Musk calls her.
Yeah. So, Kimberly Cheeto actually was at the RNC. Yes,
she was there.
Yeah, she was there because this is obviously a major operation for them as well. And she was confronted by, some Republican, lawmakers, including U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn out of Tennessee. And so Marsha Blackburn was asked about this, and a video was posted on X about it. The audio is a little echoey in there, but I think you're going to be able to figure out what she's saying here, and you can hear it clearly. Just know that you got to listen kind of for it, because it was recorded in the RNC at the big convention hall.
She would not answer our questions. She wanted to say it was not the time or place. This is after we've been through a conference call today where the question queue got cut off. But I've got a message for her. She can run, but she cannot hide.
Okay, so some other things that we're seeing now, and I'm sticking with, I'm not chasing every rabbit hole. The thing is that there's anybody on the internet can say anything.
Oh yeah,
and just add to the chaos.
Absolutely.
Okay, and there's a lot of people who are thriving on that, and yes, some people on the right are doing that as well.
You get engagement farm with this kind of stuff.
Oh, you can. A lot of people are. So, you Twitter detectives out there, your ex detectives, you social media, whatever,
Sleuths.
who are just, social media sleuths. Would you please kindly STFU for the time being, because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are like zooming in on one thing in the video that you've taken from somebody else, who probably took the video from somebody else who knows what's happened to it. And look at this. This proves it's a big conspiracy. No, it doesn't. And so Senator John Barrasso, Republican out of Wyoming, told Fox News the Secret Service had identified Thomas Crooks, the shooter, as a character of suspicion over an hour before the shooting happened. So this is Fox News and Red State reporting this, directly quoting a U.S. senator who spoke with the director, quoting here. He was identified as a character of suspicion because he was seen with a rangefinder as well as a backpack, and this was over an hour before the shooting actually occurred. So you would think over the course of that hour, you shouldn't lose sight of the individual. Somebody ought to be following up on those sorts of things. No evidence of that happening at all. Aisha Hasney from Fox News tweeted yesterday afternoon, source familiar with Secret Service briefing with senators tells me a timeline shared with them reveals the Secret Service was aware of a threat about 10 minutes before Trump walked on the stage and still let him walk on the stage.
Right. That's a huge red flag right there. There's the fact that he was spotted. You mentioned an hour prior to it.
Yeah, they're
he
like,
was a,
hey,
a
there's
person of interest.
And his parents called the police saying something's wrong. We don't know where he is, and there's a problem here.
Now, we've seen this kind of thing before, where it's a series of failures by the system. We've seen this with a number of like mass shooters and high profile people where, the parents call in, somebody local calls in, hey, nothing happens.
Right.
The people, the guy hanging by the door, the open door of the school or something like that. We've seen a series of those sort of mistakes lead to this. And, and we don't go the conspiracy theory route. I think the problem here is there are so many people whose specific job it is to protect the individual who is in danger.
Right.
And the failures stack, and then that calls into question motive. So it's kind of like the border. It's like, hey, I understand when people, they're under resourced, or they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, or their plans aren't working out the way they are. There are surges that they weren't expecting. And you can say, okay, I see incompetence at the border, and that's why it's crazy. But then you look at a guy like Mayorkas and how he's been conducting himself and the policies they've been implementing and very specific directives that they've been taking, and you're like, okay, this seems malicious. That's the question I keep asking. Now, I am definitely not going to say that this was a conspiracy, that they tried
inside job.
It's an inside job. They tried to get him killed. I am not there. I am not there by a long shot. But I will say this: my questions keep mounting about the stacking of the incompetence. There comes a point where the tower of incompetence tips over and collapses. And I was like, okay, it can't be incompetence. It doesn't make sense. There are too many coincidences. There are only so many coincidences that make sense.
But there's unlimited incompetence.
But that's true. Government incompetence, I suppose you could make the case, is unlimited.
I came across some stories yesterday from WPXI in Pittsburgh, and they had interviews with police in Butler who said that the Secret Service was not communicating very well with them at all. and also I think the township commissioner. So the communications aspect is horrendous when you look at what went on. What was the Secret Service doing besides
Right.
keeping everything secret?
And now throwing, the locals under the bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blaming them.
Steve Scalise had, I think he summed it up really well when he said, if you're farming out part of your operations and contracting out, which happens, listen, I've got a bunch of buddies who are police officers. They have worked these details. The Secret Service doesn't come in and do all the traffic control. They don't do all the perimeter. They do work with different layers. We talked to Tim Fitch earlier this week about this. But it's still under the Secret Service's auspices. They're in charge. And the whole thing, with the interview where the director said, it was a sloped roof. It was sloped like the shed at my house when I was living in Camp Point, Illinois. We had a small shed. It was the same slope on there. You know what I used to do? Walk around on top of it to get stuff.
Well, the thing is, the counter sniper area where they did take the kill shot against the assailant, that roof was just as sloped, if not more. So what's the deal? Why is one roof more dangerous than the other to put somebody?
And there were post-event photographs of an FBI guy with a hose standing up there.
Up on top there. Yeah, cleaning
blood. Stuff down.
Yeah.
Well, okay, if he's fine standing there, then
right.
What are you guys doing?
I know. And so I'm trying to balance out. Clearly, I am not an expert. I am not a law enforcement anything. And at the same time, to say your reaction of trying to throw other agencies under the bus, which is really out of character historically with the Secret Service. Normally, regardless of whether they are serving under a Republican or a Democratic administration, first of all, they keep their mouths shut when it comes to the defense of their protectees and as far as how they do that. But secondly, when they do open it, it's usually to say, we own this, and take it from that approach. What we're seeing right now is we don't want to talk about the facts and what we did, but we're going to throw everybody else under the bus and talk about where they failed. And the more information that we get, the more we find out that, no, it looks like the problem was at the top on this. I mean, especially now that we know that somebody said, hey, there's a guy who's got a rangefinder and a backpack.
Yeah.
That's an hour before and 10 minutes before, we don't know where he is.
And that hour before was when he was going through security.
Yeah.
Getting into that area. And that's when they spotted that. So you're right. But what did you guys do afterwards? You didn't follow him to check and see where he was going?
And that's the thing is that those are the questions that the U.S. senators and we want answered. And we're getting a runaround. It sure looks a whole lot more like CYA than let's figure out what happened so it never happens again.
According to Fox News, the Butler Township manager, Thomas Knights, is defending the local police, saying that their primary job was supposed to be traffic.
Right.
Like they weren't supposed to be sweeping buildings and doing the like. So what went on? Who was responsible for keeping that building clear of any threats?
The Secret Service.
I would
mean, and if they said, well, that was we assigned that to the Pennsylvania State Police or whatever it's called out there. Okay, then did they confirm to you that it was done? Did you check and make sure?
Well, they're disputing that was an assignment.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to Milwaukee here. Tim Jones is at the convention. He's going to give us an update here at 6:35.
So you grab a piece of something that you think is gonna last.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Personally for Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, some nice weather tonight with lowering humidity and a low down to 64 degrees. Some outlying areas maybe even touch the 50s. But it's going to be a nice mild start. A warm but nice and low humidity day. Mostly sunny and 82 degrees for the high. Nice break from typical July heat. We do it again on Friday. A low of 62, a high of 82. Mostly sunny. What a way to end off the week. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor.
Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, along with daughter Sammy Tobler-Gregory, a team member here at our family-owned Body of Health Direct Primary Care Practice. Sammy, what are patients telling you about their experience at Body of Health?
I can't tell you how many patients I've had come to me and tell me they just so appreciate getting to sit across the table with their doctor and chat about whatever's going on with their healthcare needs for however long they need.
Want to learn more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Hey, Columbo here for the great cleaning pros at Zero Res. Summertime in St. Louis means barbecues, graduation parties, and spending time with friends and family. And Zero Res knows how important it is to have your home as clean and healthy as possible for your loved ones. So they have an amazing summer offer for you. Book a cleaning in July and mention the Columbo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and a 4th room free. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
This is Donald Trump's night at the GOP convention, walking away with his party's nomination and on the road to the White House.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, tonight is the big night for Republicans. Donald Trump giving his acceptance speech, and we have another update from Milwaukee right now. We got our very own Tim Jones is at the convention. You're going to see a picture of him and Eric Burleson, Congressman Eric Burleson. I haven't talked to Eric probably in a few years, but it's funny because, I mean, when I would talk to you before, he was a state representative, and now he's like one of the leading Freedom Caucus voices in Congress. Kind of funny how you see people kind of ascend the ranks. By the way, don't forget, if you haven't already downloaded it, the News Talk STL app is free. And if once you download that, your phone is a radio anywhere you want to go. And so if you go outside the St. Louis area but want to keep track of what's going on, we can do that for you with the app, Bluetooth in. And every once in a while, somebody says, "Hey, I'm losing 1 to 1.9. I got to flip over to 94.1." Well, if you got the app, you can just stay with us.
Yep, exactly. And on a related note, welcome back to our Twitter.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yes, or X. It's
that's
Twitter.
Right.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Okay, so we're streaming again. We're paying them $8 a month as well. So anybody want to sponsor the stream for $10 a month?
There you go.
Okay, it'll be more than that, but yeah, just saying. All right, our own afternoon host extraordinaire and former Missouri Speaker of the House, Tim Jones, is in Wisconsin right now. He's in Milwaukee, and he joins us right now. Tim, we spoke with Mary Theresa McLean yesterday because she's a delegate there as well. You're at the convention, of course. J.D. Vance giving his acceptance speech of the nomination. It's an interesting take of the combination of speakers right there. I thought the Peter Navarro speech reminded people of what happens when, law enforcement and the justice system is weaponized. And then obviously J.D. Vance telling his, personal story, which was become so well known in Hillbilly Elegy and everything that goes with that. So it's an interesting confluence of stories that they're telling, which is seems like a pretty well put together production, at least.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Gabe Sell. Yeah, I am live on the ground here in Milwaukee. Actually, the hotel that it's not the Trump Hotel, but it's the hotel that President Trump is staying at is in sight. We are heading to the Faith and Freedom Coalition breakfast this morning, which I believe is featuring Tucker Carlson. So that'll be an overflow, max capacity crowd like everything here. Guys, the atmosphere here is absolutely electric. And you are correct. The Republican Party is doing something that it usually does not do too well because we're such geeky policy wonks. They are telling excellent stories about why their policies work for the American people. That is why this has been such a successful convention. They have had a theme every single night. They have stuck to that theme every single night, and it has been an extraordinary experience indeed. I've been to several conventions. By far, this has been the most interesting. It's been the most informative. It's been the most exciting and exhilarating. The energy on the convention floor is unbelievable. It's just, it's really remarkable. And the convention floor last night, it was nearly impassable. There were so many people down there. Congressman Eric Burleson, of course, you all saw me with him last night.
Mm-hmm.
Congressman Jason Smith was just right to our left in that picture. Congressman Mark Alford was here as well. Of course, the Missouri delegation. Everyone's all smiles and pink fluffy unicorns here in Milwaukee.
And I saw a lot of people who made up their own ear pillows to wear it on their ear like Donald Trump has. I can't decide whether that's one of the funniest things or one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Well, it's meme worthy,
Yeah.
like you guys all said earlier, and it's been as you guys were talking about yesterday. I was listening to you guys as I was heading to the airport yesterday. The storytelling by average, what we call average, like we're average, right? Everyday Americans, the EDAs, they're calling them, the everyday American stories. Some of those speeches have been more exhilarating, exciting, and uplifting than some of the primetime speeches. Now, they've all been great. They've all been informative, but some of those speeches have been amazing. And guys, the highlight of last night, of course, J.D. Vance accepting the vice presidential nomination, telling his story, which is remarkable. His story is the American dream. And that's why CNN is absolutely flipping out and calling him a MAGA extremist. I'm still trying to figure out what speech they watched because it was a different one than what we saw last night. But one of the highlights of the night last night was when Don Jr.'s 17-year-old daughter took to the main stage, and it seemed to be maybe not entirely planned. I'm sure the family planned on it, but he just brought her up, and she delivered some of the best remarks, humanizing Donald Trump as the best grandfather she could ever have. And that's been one of the biggest stories of this week. Everything about the Republican Party has been humanized, has been directed to Americans out here in what we call flyover country. That this contrast has not necessarily been just with the Republicans and Democrats. It's been with the elitists, the coastal elites that want to govern us and tell us everything to do while they're destroying us with the fentanyl trade and the sex trafficking and the open borders and the horrible policies both at home and abroad versus what the Republican Party was under Donald Trump barely 3.5 years ago when our land truly was not a cliche. It was becoming great again. It was a time of peace and prosperity. And that's why CNN and MSDNC are absolutely losing their minds.
Good morning, Tim. Style here. By the way, the 98-year-old World War II veteran was very moving. That was an awesome portion of the evening, as I'm sure you would agree.
Yes.
And another poignant moment was the names being read for the men and women who were killed in Afghanistan, the 13, and then having everyone shout out their names. Tell us a little bit about that and what you also felt emotionally with some of the other everyday American stories.
Yep. So the theme, guys, last night, as I said, there's been a theme every single night. And even though the themes are big and broad and it allows the speakers a lot of latitude, everyone remains focused within those central tenets. So last night was Make America Strong Again. And who does not agree that we are a weaker nation now in just about every aspect than we were under Donald Trump? I mean, if you listen carefully to the left-wing liberal corporate national media news networks, if you listen to the top Democrats, guys, what do they talk about as is their message or their plan or what they accomplished over the last 3 years? They don't. They say, elect Republicans and you'll lose reproductive justice, whatever that means. And their threats to democracy. They don't talk about their policies because they can't, because they've been failures. So last night was everything that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done to this country and what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance will do to this country to repair it once again with the assistance still of all of those great Americans that came to the stage. They've made it very clear that Donald Trump is, yes, he's an extremely popular person. Yes, he is a tour de force. Yes, he is a bit of a cult of personality, but this is not a cultist hero kind of thing. We're all in this together has been the theme. And bringing up everyone from, the 17-year-old granddaughter who has her entire life ahead of her, and Lord knows what that young Trump will do with her life, to the 98-year-old World War II veteran. It's like we're all in this together. Yes, Donald Trump's going to be the leader, but we're all in this together. We all have a part to play. That has been the message this week, that we're all part of this. There's no elitism. There's no, well, I've got what I've got and you've got what you've got. I mean, that's why they call Donald Trump the blue-collar billionaire. And that's something that the Republicans have always had a really tough time. I'll be critical on them. Usually their conventions are very policy wonky and sterile, and I like the policy stuff. But what they've always missed is the empathy and the emotion, right? The Democrats use empathy and emotion in a fallacious way, right? They never mean what they say. The opposite of what they say is always true, as Vic Porcelli says. But in this convention, you've heard real Americans telling real stories about the problems and the chaos that the Biden administration has caused versus, again, the peace and prosperity and security we had under Donald Trump. So last night, it was about securing the border. It was about peace through strength. There were many Reagan-esque moments last night. J.D. Vance said it best. He goes, we don't need to be running around globetrotting all over the planet. But when we do speak, we should speak very loudly, and everyone should take note and, basically sit the F down, when we get ourselves involved in something that is a horrible situation around the world. So I think that's why Democrats who are in complete disarray, rumors, of course, circulating yesterday that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are telling Joe Biden to step down. Will he? Won't he? We don't know. So while they're having a civil war and are completely dysfunctional, the Republicans at least appear to the international world stage at this moment to be very united.
All right. I know the Gabe's got something for you, Tim. I was half expecting the 98-year-old veteran at some point to refer to that old guy, Joe Biden. I'm just
that would have been classic.
Good morning, Tim. Gabe here. So unity is actually the topic of the question that I had. There's been a lot of discussion about the growing fractures between maybe sort of the populist right and the establishment right and the conservatives, and sort of the new right that seems to be growing, popularized by kind of the walkaway style people like your Amber Roses of the world. Were you sensing any division as you're kind of perusing the area, or is unity the actual solid message, and that's the feeling that's pervading the convention?
Well, look, Gabe, you've put your finger on the pulse of some of the feelings rather well. The Republican Party is also a gigantic family, and when the bigger the family, the more controversies you're going to have, right? What family doesn't have their own set of drama, right? My family's got it, your family's got it, every family's got it. So the bigger the family, the more controversies you're going to have, and some of the conflicts as well. I think people are rightly skeptical about some of these things. Look, was I a big fan of having the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, take the main stage at the GOP? Yeah. Now, what do I take out of that messaging? What I take out of that messaging is I want more of the rank and file to vote for President Trump, J.D. Vance, and Republicans all over the country. But I don't want the Republican Party adopting any of the principles or the philosophies of the leadership of the union. The leadership of the unions needs to change. The Republican Party does not need to change to satisfy the leadership of the big union thugs, right? I mean, that's kind of where we need to go. And so, yeah, we're going to have some of those battles. We're going to have some of those conflicts. But if we do it civilly and have debate about it, what's wrong with that, right? Not all of the founding fathers and mothers agreed with each other on how we were going to form this country in the first place. And so because we live in a free society, and Mike talks about this all the time, the dangers of having, absolute free speech are the dangers of having absolute free speech, right? I mean, there comes responsibility with that as well. So, yeah, Gabe, there is a lot of those discussions. There's a lot of people like, there's some head scratchers with some of the folks that have been up there with some of the messaging. But on the other hand, how about the fact, turn it around? How about the fact that those people felt confident and comfortable enough to come and speak? Sean O'Brien was kind of putting himself at risk. Amber Rose putting herself at risk. They're telling the world, I'm here supporting the Republicans this year. And that's where you go, okay, we're going to try to put our differences aside. What I always say is this: get elected first. Then you can decide how you're going to govern. The Democrats are so good at that. The Republicans need to be as well. Put out your basic tenets, stick as much as possible to your core principles, but you got to win elections. You got to win the hearts and minds of the people and get elected before you can start debating about, which 300-page bill you're going to pass up on Capitol Hill.
All right. And Tim, obviously you're going to be on live this afternoon on your show, or are you doing convention stuff today?
Yes, I'm going to be remote from here. Chris and Joey will be in the studio. I will have the aforementioned Congressman Eric Burleson one of the freshest, most exciting faces in Congress. We're extremely good friends. I'm so proud of my good friend Eric Burleson. We're going to have him on the show tonight. And, hopefully another one of our very good friends, Dr. Bob Onder, who I full-throatedly endorse for the 3rd Congressional District. I hope that Dr. Bob will be at the nenext convention with Burleson, and we'll all have a grand old time.
All right. I know we're going to get into this more in future days and times and weeks, but I love what you just said regarding, you're not wild about having the union thug boss up there, and, that they need to change, and that you don't want to see the Republicans take on that, that sort of approach to things. Would you mind mentioning that to Josh Hawley at some point? I'm just going to leave it at that.
He's an eclectic guy. How about we just say that for now? We can have that discussion debate later.
Yeah, we'll do that. Exactly. All right. Tim Jones going to be on with Chris Harps from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock right here on News Talk STL. All right, Tim, have a great time at the breakfast. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for having me. Continue to have a great show.
All right. Thanks so much. All right. 314-912-1019. Let's dump some news on you. By the way, if you go to my Twitter at AVP Radio Show, which stands for American Viewpoints, if you didn't know that already, if you want to see the telltale signs that Chris Harps has been near your desk, I photographed it. I'm not going to tell it on here. Just go to my Twitter or X account at AVP Radio Show, and you can see the telltale signs to know that Chris Harps has been there where you are now.
We have evidence.
Well, I have evidence. I have photographed the evidence of it. And by the way, hit follow, please, while you're there.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
And we can ride the boogie, share that beat of love. I wanna rock with you all night.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hello, Tim Jones here with Eric from Newsteaders, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, your diamonds are so fantastic at Newsteaders. You named the website after them, wowdiamonds.com. Tell us about Wow Diamonds.
Well, we picked that name because when people look at the diamonds, they all exclaim the same thing. Everybody says, wow. And nobody can spell Newsteaders, so we figured Wow Diamonds would definitely be good tagline, and it's very accurate. We actually introduced the lab-grown diamond to our St. Louis family, and we're the exclusive home of the trademarked Wow Diamond. It's the most perfectly cut and polished diamond you'll ever experience, and we can fit one into anyone's budget. The thing that's nice about them is they're significantly less expensive than a mined diamond, and of course the artwork is in the cutting and polishing. That's where you get the beauty in the diamond, and that's what we excel at.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Are you a St. Louis small business owner looking to boost your brand? Blue Ocean Media Group offers affordable video production that packs a punch. From social media content to branded promotional clips, we'll help you stand out in the digital crowd. Professional quality, small business prices. Let's tell your story together. Learn more at blueomg.com. That's blueomg.com. Blue Ocean Media. Big impact videos for small business budgets.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the morning news dump.
All right, J.D. Vance makes it official. Not that there was any question he was going to do that. He is in for the campaign All the pomp and circumstance surrounding that happened last night at the RNC. Got a little clip of that. Don't get your hopes up. Rumors that WashU is ending its gender abuse of children. Those rumors appear to be false, unfortunately. And could a St. Louis product be headed back to the Lou to play football here again? I think this would really get people excited for the next UFL season. All right, RNC, we just talked to Tim Jones. And by the way, that conversation, we're going to have that up on our podcast here before too long after the show ends, so you can get that and send that update around. But Senator J.D. Vance, now vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance, speaks, I guess I should say vice presidential nominee, because they did confirm that. So he's the nominee, speaking at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee with his first speech as a nominee. And he says he is calling for a leader who's going to fight for the people, not big business, which, of course, is part of the move towards the populism. And a lot of people have a concern with the direction of the party that we just talked to Tim about.
Tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
All right, here's another clip of part of his speech there, because I want to go a little bit deeper than that.
My work taught me that there is still so much talent and grit in the American heartland. There really is. But for these places to thrive, my friends, we need a leader who fights for the people who built this country.
All right, and then this was another clip.
Our disagreements actually make us stronger. That's what I've learned in my time in the United States Senate, where sometimes I persuade my colleagues and sometimes they persuade me. And my message to my fellow Americans, those watching from across the country, is shouldn't we be governed by a party that is unafraid to debate ideas and come to the best solution?
Okay, that clip right there jumped out at me. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
That's the right message. It's the right tone.
Now, not just because I tend to be contrarian with people who are overly partisan on this, and I'm skeptical of the GOP's move towards a populist middle as opposed to being diehard conservative. But we talked about this the other day, where we're saying, why is it a sin to change your mind on things in good faith,
right,
as opposed to a flip flop? And well, we have to have discernment. We have to have nuance, but we have to allow for that. And we've got a culture that doesn't want to do that. I thought that was actually a fairly brave thing to say in a political speech, when you're supposed to say, we're all perfect, vote for us, and the others are all evil, don't vote for them.
Right. We're always right, by the way.
Right.
So even if we change our minds, this is right now.
Yep. All right. Now, another interesting speech, fascinating speech here was former Trump trade advisor Peter Navarro. Literally let out of prison and flown to Wisconsin to speak at the RNC. And of course, you won't be surprised that the subject that he was talking about was weaponizing the justice system and law enforcement to go after politics.
And here's the thing: when politics fails, the investigations and prosecutions begin. They did it to me. They're going to do it to Trump. But hear me out. They've also done it to Catholics, pro-life activists, and parents who are just standing up for the kids at school board meetings.
Good Lord, that's one of the right tones to hit.
Absolutely. And he's the right guy to deliver that message.
Yeah, and he raised the roof on the place. When he came in, they went nuts.
Oh, yeah, sure did.
Yeah, I got the notice that he was going to speak, and I'm going, whoa, okay, that was really, really good, because while these conventions are by design pomp and circumstance and celebrate and coronations, remind people why they should be mad at the other side. That's part of hitting hard on that.
Yep.
All right. You may have seen the social media post and the news headlines saying that WashU's so-called pediatric transgender clinic is shutting down. Unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. Officials there tell Channel 5 that they have scaled back what they do to the kids, but they are still operating. So we have a long way to go, which means for the Missouri legislature, get on it and criminalize this abuse that they are doing at this places just like this. But they are still in operation, unfortunately. All right. I'm not going to do the audio on this one, Stel, but the White House says President Biden has tested positive for COVID-19.
Of course he has COVID-19. Actually, they're going to say he's had COVID-19 this entire time, especially during the debate. That was when it was at his peak. and he's just coming off it now. Now, don't mind all of the heavy breathing he did over your food at that restaurant last night, and you know, shaking hands and kissing babies and smelling children.
Yeah. Battlehawks draft a homegrown player during the UFL's college draft on Wednesday. They used their second pick to select Mizzou's Cody Schrader, who played his high school ball at Lutheran South. Now, after initially playing for Truman State, Schrader then walked onto Mizzou's team. Last season, he led the SEC in rushing yards. Now, he's Schrader's at rookie camp with the 49ers right now. If they don't sign him, then the Battlehawks have the rights in the UFL.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents, and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. The city was booming. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline. St. Louis City Republicans believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. Learn more at stlouisrepublicans.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican Pat Curtis, Farber Treasurer.
Here's some expert advice from McGuire Moving and Storage. If you have a home or business move coming up, you need to book now. Most moving companies are booked 6 to 8 weeks out. So call McGuire now, get an on-site estimate, set a date. McGuire has 85 years of experience and just won the Spire Quality Award. I can personally testify McGuire goes above and beyond to help the clients. McGuire Moving and Storage, McGuireMoving.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Well, it's Donald Trump's big night at the Republican National Convention. Town Hall News White House correspondent Greg Clugston with this preview from Milwaukee.
The former president has been here in the convention hall each night this week, but he'll address the crowd and the country for the first time at this convention as he accepts the Republican Party's presidential nomination for a third time. After surviving an assassination attempt last weekend, he told the Washington Examiner that he had rewritten his speech for tonight's convention finale to focus more on national unity than on Joe Biden's policies. Greg Clugston, Milwaukee.
And speaking of the president, he is now in isolation at his Delaware beach house.
President Joe Biden was in Las Vegas to speak at the Unidos U.S. annual conference, but that appearance was canceled after Biden tested positive for COVID-19. In a Las Vegas interview with Univision Radio, Biden sounded winded as he talked about his performance in the first presidential debate.
I had a terrible night on the debate night. I was exhausted. I had been traveling around the world. I wasn't ready.
Biden said, with age comes wisdom, and he said the Biden administration has gotten more done in 4 years than any other president has in a 4-year period. I'm Donna Warder.
There are calls among congressional Republicans for Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to resign following the attempt on former President Trump's life last weekend. The gunman perched on a rooftop just 130 yards from Mr. Trump. That position obviously not secured. Also, the former president was allowed to go on stage despite the gunman having already been identified as a suspicious individual. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 43 points. Nasdaq futures up 89 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text TRADE to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
First Alert Forward Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Some nice weather tonight with lowering humidity and a low down to 64 degrees. Some outlying areas maybe even touch the 50s. But it's going to be a nice mild start. A warm but nice and low humidity day. Mostly sunny and 82 degrees for the high. Nice break from typical July heat. We do it again on Friday. A low of 62, a high of 82. Mostly sunny. What a way to end off the week. That's the latest from the First Alert Forward Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner home selling team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner home selling team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner home selling team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner home selling team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple saw stereo!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
By the way, on Rumble, Jay Monty, who joins us and watches pretty much every day from Georgia, says Kofifi dance is just a must. It's a must.
It is.
You got to do the
You
Kofifi
have to do
dance.
it. And by the way, you can tell how full my mug is by how boisterous my movements are. Full mug this morning.
Yeah, just saying. All right. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump in tonight's speech? Let's talk about that at 7:20. So I'm just telling you right now, 7:20. That's what we're going to talk about. What do you want to hear from him? I know there's so many people who are just big fans and supporters. You got the red hats and all that sort of thing. And you're saying, Donald Trump, tell me how to help. What do you want him to say tonight? Remember, he's applying for a job. You're the boss. What do you want to hear from him? So let me know on social media, Facebook. We're back up on Twitter, Rumble, or call me at 720 314-912-1019. All right, we're joined by Darrell Jones from our friends at the Herzog Foundation. And Darrell, normally we're not talking about anything that has to do with, we talk about culture and the way that it affects education and government and all that sort of stuff. But since you and I talked last time, we've had this horrible situation of an attempted assassination of a political leader. I mean, in this case, it's Donald Trump. All of us are old enough to remember other attempted assassinations and even assassinations in this country. So we tend to forget that this can happen here, and it does here as well. And so many people are saying heated rhetoric, and we've heard this off and on, but oftentimes it's been, well, that's heated rhetoric when making that argument benefits somebody politically. But in this case, bullets actually flew and somebody was killed in this case. At the Lion, you actually have a story posted there. One of your editors wrote a pretty lengthy story about that. And this affects everything from politics to culture. And yeah, you could say education as well.
It's true. Michael Ryan wrote just a great piece, really chronicling the rhetoric for radicals and how the left has created the political climate for homicidal fury. I mean, when you look back at what's happened with words matter. I mean, you guys know that this is radio. I mean, words matter, and in political rhetoric and political discourse, this malignment of Donald J. Trump has just been, from the get-go, the primary narrative of the left. And it's not even whether it's about an individual politician. It's about this a real attack where, framed as a Russian collaborator and then probed endlessly and fruitlessly in a multi-million-dollar investigation, making him, any politician, public enemy number one, facing more charges and more lawsuits than the Unabomber. And then, just to continue to cry out that, this person is a threat to democracy. Did you see the cover of the New Republic just a month ago, back in June, with Donald J. Trump's face morphed as Adolf Hitler, with the title "American Fascism: What Would It Look Like Today?" You've got to be kidding me. You remember early in his presidency, when comedian Kathy Griffin posted the picture of holding a head of the severed head of the president of the United States. Rapper Snoop Dogg mocks an assassination of the president, and all of these things matter. And when you build this, any politician up to be public enemy number one, that democracy is going to go away. He's the arch enemy of freedom as we know it. It absolutely sets the stage that somebody's going to take it seriously and say, well, then this guy's got to go. And that's what we're seeing. And Michael, in his article on The Lion, really did a masterful job of just laying the case that, look, and what other politician has been so attacked senselessly. And I mean, if you watch even the latest Supreme Court rulings, even lacking status to be able to hold these charges against him.
Morning, Darrell. Gabe here. And we've seen this sort of rhetoric in schools too, right? We've seen it from teachers, we've seen it from administrators, and this sort of thing is especially when we're talking about dealing with kids who don't have wisdom or history or other things to draw on to sort of allow them to mitigate what they're hearing. They're taking this hook, line, and sinker, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I mean, even to the degree, unbelievably, that parents are labeled as hate groups, really, because they go to school board meetings and want to know what's happening in the school and what are you teaching our kids. That makes you a hate group? Really? Are you kidding me? I mean, even the fact that it's labeled a hate group is pretty strong rhetoric when you're talking about, the guardians of children.
We're visiting with Darrell Jones from the Herzog Foundation. By the way, that article from readlion.com, I just posted that in the chat on Rumble. So if somebody wants to see that for themselves, they can do that. Let me follow up on something you just said. And I'm going to apologize in advance a little bit, Darrell, because I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball, but it relates so well to what you just said. Gavin Newsom in California just signed into law a bill that makes it illegal and criminalizes local school districts from saying we're going to tell parents when their kids get into the gender dysphoria, gender confusion, and we're going to actively hide it to the point of passing a law making it illegal to tell parents that their children are going through gender confusion and all of that sort of thing. This drives home the conversation regarding school choice, the parental rights, and what you just referred to on weaponizing government against children. If this doesn't encapsulate how crucial this is, not just from an educational perspective, but from a cultural and the future of our country perspective, I don't know what does.
Well, that's exactly right. And we just continue to see more and more this division among us, right? Where now it's school districts versus parents. in who's capable of raising children. Look, I don't know. I don't know your academic life, Mike and Gabe, but I will just tell you, for myself, the good reverend, when I was in trouble in school, trust me, that was reinforced when I got home. It was like my parents and the school 40 years ago, 50 years ago, were working from the same playbook in partnering together for the raising of students. That era is unfortunately gone. And when you see, school systems versus parents in the raising of kids, that should send shockwaves through every home across the country. And it is so epitomized by the latest legislation and signature of the governor of California.
Okay, I know Gabe's got a question for you here. I just want to point out, because my mom's recovering from surgery, I know she's asleep and she's not going to hear me say this. So I'm just going to point out that I never got in trouble when I was in school, in answer to your question right there. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, Gabe.
Hey, and for that, you're going to be in trouble. I'm confident for that right there.
Darrell, I wanted to get your reaction to the GOP adding a plank to their platform, signaling that they're in full endorsement of universal school choice.
Well, my comment would simply be it was shocking. I mean, I was surprised to see such bold language in the Republican platform that, they're basically saying to all politicians under their umbrella, look, this is not a passing thing. We are all about this, and we are all in. And it's not simply some version of limited option for parents. It is universal school choice. And I guess on one hand, I was shocked to see it so boldly proclaimed in the platform. But I will tell you, 5 years ago, if we were having this conversation, there were no states in the country with universal school choice, meaning that a parent can put their kids in whatever school is best for those kids based on the determination of the parents. If you want your kids in public school, go for it. If you want them in private school, go for it. If you want a secular education, if you want a religious or a Christian education, you have that authority and that right, and the dollars will follow the direction of the parents. That's universal school choice. 5 years ago, there was not a state in the union that had universal school choice. Today, just 4 years later, we have 11 states with universal school choice, and a number of states like Missouri, specifically, that have limited versions of school choice, but not universal. When the Republican platform makes that bold statement that we are all about universal school choice across the land, that's a bold new move.
Now, I hope that the Missouri legislature takes heed of that, the Republicans in the Missouri legislature, because they're the ones who have been sort of stymieing some of this progress. Now, not to pardon my cynicism here just a little bit, political conventions are made for TV, and part of what they're doing is trying to reflect what's marketable to the voters. The fact that they put this in the platform and they are openly, like you said, I think bold is a good word for this, that shows that they've done the testing, they've done the research, they know people actually want this. It's the politicians who need to get the message, particularly in Missouri. And of course, in Illinois, they just took away some school choice options from students.
Well, it's interesting to me that, if politicians really are to represent we the people, certainly this platform is far more reflective of we the people than what it has been in the past. I mean, right now, 36% of students across the country have opportunity for universal school choice just based on the 11 states. This would be a huge move if in fact Republicans begin, adhering to the platform of the party. It'll be interesting to see how strong the party really is on it. But I think even the Republican nominee has been very clear on his support. Obviously, Ron DeSantis spoke the other night and was as clear as could be on, the desire and the need to give parents the authority to make choices for the education for their children that's best for them.
All right. Darrell Jones, Herzog Foundation, of course, for what limited school choice there is, you are among the biggest, maybe the biggest clearinghouse of the most scholars program. So people want to be in touch, learn more about it, to take advantage of it. The way to do it is what?
Oh, yes. Contact us either at mostscholars.com or at herzogfoundation.com. And we are happy to help you if you want to give up to 50% of your Missouri tax liability. The state has already approved it. The governor signed it. You can give up to 50% of your Missouri tax liability, either individual or corporate, and send half the money to the politicians in Jeff City, and the other half you can designate to go help parents have dollars to put their kids in private and certainly Christian education. And so we'd love to help you make that happen. It's typically a 10-minute conversation we need to have. It's very simple, but something that you can really do in the state of Missouri right now to help parents have school choice here.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, Darrell. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, guys. Great talking to you.
All right. The number here is 314-912-1019. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump at his big speech tonight at the RNC? I know a lot of people are saying, I want to know what I can do. Okay. But what do you want to hear from him? Being a voter, being an activist, maybe being a committee person, whatever it is, what do you want to hear from Donald Trump? Let's talk about that around 7:21 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
And all at once depart, no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now!
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Stop it right now!
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Columbo and Company.
On Thursday, Crane Durham is my co-host, and we'll talk local news with Mo Rep Justin Sparks at 2:20. Then we'll preview Trump's RNC speech with Dr. Tobler at 3:05.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
If you haven't been to Lit Cigar Lounge in the district at Chesterfield, you're missing a great experience. Premium cigars, drinks, spacious seating, TVs in every direction. This and more explain why Lit was voted Best Cigar Lounge 2 years in a row. Now you can be at Lit and order Napoli Brothers pizza and pasta delivered to you. In fact, Napoli's just a few doors down. A coal-fired oven giving a unique taste. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta, now open in the Chesterfield district.
Dreaming of upgrading your outdoor space? STL FenceWorks is the choice for you. Our skilled craftsmen build custom fences from modern vinyl to classic ornamental, fitting your style and budget. Elevate your outdoor living with low-maintenance decks designed to relax and entertain. We choose only top-quality American-made materials, ensuring your project is built to last. Your satisfaction is our passion. With over 50 years of experience, custom designs, and exceptional customer service, visit stlfenceworks.com today.
Columbo and Katie.
When asked what he'd say to voters that are worried about his age, Joe Biden said, "Watch me." It's always, I tell him, just watch me.
We've been watching.
Yeah, we've been watching. It's bad,
You know what
buddy.
we've been watching?
You got it.
Stumbling.
Yeah, you got to.
Tripping, falling upstairs.
They put the kids' steps out. They put the kiddie steps out for you on Air Force One, bro.
We got the non-slick shoes going on. I'm watching.
It's not good.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Attention voters. The truth about Phil Cristofanelli may surprise you.
As state representative, Phil was endorsed by Promo, a Democrat-led LGBTQIA+ organization with extreme views.
Promo pushes for sex changes for kids, males and girls sports and bathrooms, and teaching gender confusion in schools.
Phil's record speaks for itself.
He voted to allow boys and girls sports.
And pushed to teach sexual orientation and gender identity in public schools.
Is this the leadership we want? Think carefully when you vote.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John Royal, Treasurer.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar.
That our flag was still there.
In the
Won't you please help? For just $1 a day, you can help singer Ingrid Andress get the voice lessons she needs. And if she doesn't get the voice lessons, at least she'll have money to pay for the therapy that she will need after reading all of the negative comments on social media.
For the land of the free.
Donate online now at ohsaycan'tyousing.com.
Oh, say can't you sing? Nice. Well played, sir. Well played.
That was mean.
But-
I'm sorry, not sorry.
By the way, I've been thinking more about the whole idea that she says she was drunk and that's why she couldn't sing. I think she was high. See, drunk, you can still kind of sing when you're drunk. That everybody gets a little boozed up when they're going to sing karaoke. First of all, you need the liquid courage, and so for some people it actually helps them have an ear for the music. She did not sound cogent. She didn't sound like
the look on her face was like, it was like after a really good or really bad night, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
Like, walking home at 3 a.m. Where have you been?
Eyes a little glazed over.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, and that little faux run, that sounded like something a high person would say.
Man,
It does.
Could very well be. All right. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight? That's the question on the table. Let me know. Give me a call, 314-912-1019. Of course, you can send us notes on the social media here as well. But by the way, Facebook, we are back up on Twitter, as Stell was just saying a little bit ago. But anyway, let me know. And I just refreshed on Rumble, and I think I lost a lot of the chat that everybody else has said. So if you just said something on there, I think it just disappeared from my screen. So post it again on the chat box here, and don't forget to hit the like button as well. All right, so 7:24, by the way. So Donald Trump's big speech tonight, and one of the things about, and this isn't even a thing about Trump, this is what happens, what these conventions have turned into, is, like we've said, they're basically coronation parties.
Yeah.
Where we look to this person as, here's our dear leader, whether it's Republican or Democrat or whatever, they are going to give us the marching orders so we can follow them.
Yes.
I don't think that's what it should be.
Right.
Now, that's what it is.
Well,
but I don't think that's what it should be.
I think it's more so what it's turned into in the age of mass media. Probably prior to even prior to radio, certainly, but prior to TV, probably is the last time it was more of the wonky, discussions about, party positions and things like that. And it's less so a coronation, like you said.
Right. Okay. So what do you want to hear from Trump? I mean, there's a thing as to what we think we're going to hear from him. We're going to hear, secure the border. We're going to, hear, fire them all. We're going to hear all that. We're going to see how much of Vivek Ramaswamy's eliminate the deep state has resonated with him and affected him. We're going to, see how much, he talks about, being strong to the world. We're going to hear all that. What do you want to hear from him? That's my question. Let me start. Let's go around the room. What do you want to hear from him?
I want to hear a tribute to Corey Compratori.
Okay.
Who died, during that assassination attempt. I'm sure that's going to happen, by the way, because, not only does it kind of point to the fact that he was almost killed, but it points to the damage that can be done by the heated rhetoric of the other side. So I certainly want that. And also it speaks to the man. I mean, Corey, I think it would fit in with the American story thing, and he deserves it. I mean, he was just a guy, supporting his candidate and protecting his family. So certainly that would be something I want to see.
I want to see him, and I know he's going to do this too for you, Gabe, is really reach out to the Black and Hispanic communities, making a note of how welcome they are. And it's obvious that many of them have already made the move over to the Republican Party, probably more so, I think, on the Black side, because we knew the Hispanics were moving over. But now to see that a lot of Black folks are actually moving over and realizing that, hey, you know what? 4 years ago, we were doing a lot better. And that might be the other thing I would like to see him mention off and on, is the fact that how was it for you guys
in 2019,
last time around?
2019, basically.
From 2016, from 2017 to 2019, 2020, as compared to now the last 3.5 years. Was it better then for you, or was it not? And I think most folks would say, yes, it was better.
Yeah, I think that I think you're definitely going to hear something along those lines.
Mhm.
I think you will. This is not going to surprise you that I say I want to hear him give some reassurances to conservatives that the Republican Party is not going to completely leave conservatives behind. Variety of ways he can do that. We'll see just how seriously he's actually taking what Vivek Ramaswamy has built up momentum for, as far as eliminating the administrative state, shutting things down. I mean, going all the way, instead of saying we're going to reform the Department of Education, what's happening is it's now okay to say, get rid of it. That didn't even exist until the 1970s. We tried it. It's an experiment. It has failed spectacularly. Get rid of an entire cabinet department. Get rid of it.
Yes.
I would love to see something along those lines. I want to see, I want to see talk about fiscal responsibility.
Oh gosh.
I want to,
spending cuts, please.
Right. That's one to say. I want to see conservatives not just simply told, get on board, stay in line. I know you got us here, but shut up for this election cycle because we got to win, and we don't think you guys have a winning message, which is really what conservatives are being told by the party itself right now to some degree.
Yeah.
So I want to see, when he's putting that big tent, going out of his way to make sure the conservatives know that you are part of being in that, and you're not just the ones we take for granted.
Yeah, he does need to solidify conservatives as the center post in the Big Tent.
And I have no doubt that he will center a lot of his comments on the border and the fact that has totally
been broken down.
It's totally changed our country, and it's not just the aspect of the illegals coming across, but also you've got, who knows how many folks have come across, and you've got incidents not just with the killings, but also you've got the fentanyl problem.
Right.
And so I'm sure he's going to harp on that. I hope he does.
Yeah. By the way, Goat Lady on the Rumble says, Vicky, Goat Lady was talking about refreshing on Rumble here too. I did get my comments back here. Vicky says she wants to hear that half of the government employees are laid off.
Yeah, immediately. Yes. Do it.
Yes.
Yes. Embrace the dark side.
Yeah, it is. But no, I mean, the part of governing, JD Vance last night was talking about, which party do you want in governance?
Right.
And governing is not a bad word. But here's the thing. Governing has become something that means control.
Yes. Controlling us.
Controlling us, the people.
Yeah.
That's not the actual definition of governance. You can have good governance that spends as much time and much energy and much cost governing and limiting government, protecting our rights, protecting our freedoms. And that's what I want to see more of, because if it's just a matter of, hey, look at the hard left, they want to micromanage every aspect of your life, every aspect of your word. They want to control what you can say, which means they want to control what you can think. They want to control how you parent. And all of that's true. But if their answer is, hey, put us in charge because we'll control people in a better way that's closer to what you believe.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to hear that.
No, not at all.
I want to hear that we are going to put government back in its lane and keep it there, because that's what the actual conservative ideals actually are. Do I think we're going to hear that from anybody today? No, but that's what I want.
I'm not I'm not sure about it. Now, I think, like you said, it really depends on how solidly the Vivek Ramaswamy message about the deep state penetrated the Trump campaign.
Rebecca on Rumble here. Boy, this is going to be a hot take here.
Okay.
So, Rebecca, thanks so much. She's in the conversation quite a bit. I really appreciate it. She says, and I'm quoting here, Trump has thrown conservatives to the side for sure, especially Christians. He thinks he either does not need us or will not lose enough of us to hurt his chances.
I'm not sure you're wrong.
I don't think she's wrong. And I actually think that, probably he doesn't have to worry about Christians not supporting him, even though I think that the Republican Party is in the process of throwing Christians, especially Christian conservatives, to the side. So I think that she may be right and that her assessment of what they think is right, but what they think might be right on that.
Now, before we get to our caller here, I just wanted to ask this question and throw this out there. Maybe you can think about it kind of in the back of your head. How about the idea that the Republican Party is conceding the fact that we have lost the culture war, but only in so much as we have to meet the culture where it is in order to drag it kicking and screaming back towards the right?
I would say I'm good with that if they were interested in dragging the culture back. I don't know that they are.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you thinking culture war in relation to just the abortion issue or culture across the board?
Across the board, you know, because we don't have any of the levers of power in culture. You know, culture is made by education, pop culture, media, music, movies, all this stuff. We don't own any of it, and it's informing all the kids. That's why the kids break so hard for leftist thinking. That's why they've already accepted so many things that used to be verboten back in the day. So it's one thing to say, okay, we have to go. You know, we're so far over. Go back over there. They are so far from what the center used to be now that we have to do something to bring them back. To conserve something. Can we do it cold turkey? I'm not sure, but we've got calls. So let's
do we have time to talk to Andre real quick?
Yeah, let's
do that. Andre, I'm a little bit late, but I want to get your thoughts on here.
I just wanted to say what I'd like to hear him say is something along as of getting back to some semblance of fiscal responsibility.
Yeah.
And I was listening to something on C-SPAN the other day with Senator Kennedy, and he was talking about, like, why can't we cut the budget for every single department by, say, 5% every year for a set number of years? It wouldn't be that painful, and it could get us back on track to where we need to be.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Oh, they can do it. They just won't.
They just won't.
That's right.
I agree.
Hey, Andre, thanks so much for being on the program. All right. Let's look at some local races here. We've actually got State Representative Mike Henderson coming your way here in a couple minutes, running for the state Senate in Missouri, because it's not just about the president right now. It's also about what's happening up and down the ticket. We're going to look at one of those races right around 7:36.
My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
I know I gave it to you months ago.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I know you're trying to forget.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
This is about as good as July gets in St. Louis. Some fantastic weather over the next few days. Mostly sunny today, 82 for your afternoon high. A light north flow keeping humidity low. A beautiful evening as we drop back into the 70s, on our way to an overnight low near 60 tonight. Copy and paste for Friday, mostly sunny, back to 82. The weekend's a little warmer, but still great. 85 both Saturday and Sunday. Next solid chance of rain holds off until early next week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt James.
John Beal knows that new roofing companies can look big and trustworthy on the internet, but the fact is 96% of new roofing companies go out of business within the first 5 years. John Beal has a reputation for excellence, reliability, plus lowest cost, best roof, best guarantee. Those here today, gone tomorrow roofers, they can't match John Beal. For home or business, trust my friend John. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
As a young child, you learned if you get an ice cream cone, you better start licking. The hotter the day is, the faster you better lick. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a sticky mess. Which brings me to Joe Biden and the Democrat Party convention next month in Chicago. Because of Biden's age issues, his dismal performance in the first debate, the DNC planned to nominate Biden using a virtual roll call vote before the convention opens. Well, now there's a letter circulating inside Democrat circles arguing that's a terrible idea that would deeply undermine the morale and unity of Democrats at the worst time. Well, Biden has said, if any Democrat wants to challenge me, they can show up and do so at the convention. But if there's a virtual roll call vote and the nomination is done ahead of the convention, well, that's the end of any challengers. Earlier this week, the Biden camp again insisted, we want to nominate him before the convention. They're still pushing for it, despite those saying, no, this isn't the way to do it. And then yesterday, California Congressman Adam Schiff said publicly Biden, you need to get out of the way. With that in mind, a word to the president. Joe, your ice cream is melting.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriati's Sandwich Shop. Capriati's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriati sandwich. Visit Capriati's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill, and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriatis.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Company, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
And we heard from Tim Jones early this morning with a report from Milwaukee at the convention where he is. If you missed that, let's do that again. Let's do that again at 8:35.
Yeah.
I'm not normally in the business of saying, hey, we're going to play something pre-recorded, but Tim had a great update on what's happening on the floor. And so we're going to have that for you in just a little bit. By the way, there were a lot of people that had a lot of thoughts on what do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight at a speech. We couldn't get all the calls on, so let's come back to that here in just a little bit. I want everybody to be able to have their voice on that. All right. You are voting for more than just president this year. And again, it's important. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I get it. But Donald Trump's going to win Missouri.
Yes.
Whoever the Democrats prop up is going to win Illinois.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not saying don't get involved. I'm not saying don't support your candidate. I'm just saying that where your vote has the biggest impact is closer to home.
Absolutely.
And particularly in the state legislative races. Now, we've got an interesting one happening here in the St. Louis metro area, and that is for state Senate. Mike Henderson, who's the president or speaker pro tem of the Missouri House right now, running for state Senate, and he joins us right now. And before I get into some of these issues and the campaign stuff, Mike, give me your take on what I just kind of brought up here, in that I'm not saying it's not important to look at the presidential race, but so often people look at down ticket races as less than, but these are the races that have a really direct impact on people's lives in ways that even the national races don't.
I'm a big believer in people are governed by the people closest to them. And so I agree totally what you're saying. I don't believe we want Washington telling, they have a huge impact on us. I'm not downplaying that, but I don't want them to tell us everything to do. I don't think locally people want Jefferson City to tell them everything they want to do, but what happens in Jefferson City is very important. And I think these ballot races have a profound effect on people's lives.
Morning, Mike. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So you're running for the state Senate. So I always ask every candidate for anything basically that comes on this radio station, what's the top of your agenda? What is your druthers? What's the thing that's got you fired up to get into government? What's the first thing that you want to happen if and when you get in there?
There's several policy elements, but the biggest thing is I want government to work for the people. The government is supposed to work for them to try to maybe in some little way. Government's not real great at solving a lot of problems, but government needs to, in some way, try to make the lives of the people just a little bit better. Some of the things that are really important to me is immigration, of course. I think, we can say Texas and Arizona are a border state, but we're all a border state. Second thing to me is taxes. We've been lowering taxes in Missouri, cut Social Security taxes, giving the counties the ability to freeze senior citizen taxes. I think that's very important. And a third part for me is crime. And we've got to support our police, our sheriffs, and such. We've got to back them. We got to give them the respect they need and make sure we get crime. I hear that over and over from people, how crime is affecting their lives and affecting how they travel. They don't want to go to St. Louis at night and maybe even go to a Cardinal game that's going to get out late at night because they're a little bit worried about the crime. So I think those are some of the things that are very important.
Yeah. And by the way, I live in Richmond Heights, literally 3 blocks from the city line. I don't want to go into the city at night. And I live like just right there. We're visiting with State Representative Mike Henderson. He's running for the 3rd State Senate district as well. Okay, let me follow up on part of what you just said right now. You mentioned taxes and lowering taxes. Obviously, there's a surplus right now for the state. A lot of that we know is federal money that's going to dry out that the state took in. When you look at all the infrastructure projects, the highways, the bridges, everything needs to be done. Can we actually reduce the spending of the state and cut taxes in a way that's fiscally responsible? I hope the answer is yes. And if it is, how do we do that? And then my follow-up question, I'll just tell you right now, Mike, now that people are talking in the governor's race about getting rid of personal property taxes in the state, what's your take on that as well? So kind of a 2-part question.
Okay, I'd be more than happy to answer that. We got close to cutting them again this year. If general revenue rises $200 million or more, there's some triggers put in from an earlier bill that would cut 0.1%. I know it's not going to be a game changing, but it cuts taxes. And we got, I think it was 197. I think that's correct. It could have been 194, but I think we were 197 million in new revenue in general revenue. So we almost cut them there. So that's a responsible way that when we're growing, general revenue is growing, then we would look to make that small. But over time, I think since I've been in there, we've cut maybe 0.4% of income tax off just by that method. And then the other part of that on personal property taxes, no one likes paying personal property taxes, especially in December. I'm in favor of getting rid of them, but it's almost $2 billion statewide. So it's probably going to have to be part of a bigger question on taxation. I think it's there's some other questions that have to be answered, and I think everybody's willing to go to the table and look at that.
Okay, if you are elected to the state Senate, this is where the initiative petition reform really kind of went to die this year. Republicans say every year we're going to get it done this year. We've got to make it harder to amend the state constitution. We're not talking about the referendum process for obviously for state statutes, but for state constitution. What's your take on what we've seen as proposals for reforming the initiative petition process? Because we're at risk of becoming a pro-abortion state by our state law this year.
I actually, this year, because of being Speaker Pro Tem and some other duties they want me to take on, I did not file the bill. I was actually the bill handler for the 3 years before that came out of the House. I was the bill handler of the initiative petition reform that got all the way through the House, got through the Senate, got through a conference committee, back through the House, not last year, but the year before, or not this year, but the year before. And the Senate didn't get it back up on the floor the last day for the final vote. So I'm very, very much aware of how important that is. And I'm very, very passionate about initiative petition reform. I've got a huge folder with information that can tell you that most of the money for these initiative petitions is flowing from outside. It's flowing from New York, California, New Jersey, Washington. And most of the money is not Missourians' money. So in other words, this is other states trying to remake Missouri into their image, which is exactly what we do not want.
The Republican National Convention recently solidified universal school choice as a major plank in its platform. Where do you stand on the issue for the state of Missouri?
I voted for 727 this year, and my take on it is if you show me something that's good for all kids, I'm going to vote for it. I spent 31 years in public ed, but I also want parents to have some choices. And I know that public ed is changing over the years. If you can show me something that's good for kids, I will support it. I guess I would say that at heart, I want every child to get the best education they can, and I want their parents to have some say. So that's where I would stand on that issue.
What should be the next step when it comes to the school choice debate or discussion in Missouri? I mean, this coming legislative session, what can we get done to move things in that direction to give those parents more choices?
I don't know if I can answer that per se, one particular thing, but what I would say is this. I think they found a good game plan this last session. And believe me, they put too much money into public ed. Really, it was a lot of money, and it's going to affect our budget somewhat. But they gave something to public ed, and they got some huge things in the space of school choice. And I think that's a blueprint because now you're helping all kids. Personally, what I'd like to see us do is maybe move some things on that side and get rid of the MAP test, which I think is a useless test that we give our children. I know we have to have something that measures how they're doing, but I think it's useless. And I think in the future, when we move things that help all kids in Missouri, and that means that school choice gets some of the things they want, that's a pretty good pattern.
All right. And people want, if they want to contact you or your campaign or get involved, you got a preference for website, social media, anything like that?
HendersonForMissouri.com. I've got a Facebook, Henderson for State Senate on Facebook. We're working hard. We're trying to meet people, and I very much appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on here and speak.
All right, running in the 3rd State Senate District. All right, Mike, good to chat with you. We'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, got some thoughts? Let me know, 314-912-1019. Or, again, there was a lot of people that wanted to get in and say, here's what I want to hear from Donald Trump tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that really resonated. So
sure did.
Let's talk about that as well. We could do that here. We do it 8:05, but we'll get it again. If you want to get your voice heard on that, let's do it right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Looking for a way to support our nation's heroes? Vet Jobs has been helping military veterans, service members, and their spouses find employment for over 20 years. Join them at the ballpark on Sunday, July 28th, as the Cards take on the Washington Nationals for the Salute the Services game. A portion of every ticket sold through Vet Jobs will go towards their mission of securing jobs for our brave veterans. Make a difference in the lives of those who have served our country. Learn more and get tickets at newstalkstl.com/vetjobs.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844 676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A lot of people have some thoughts on what do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight as he lays out, obviously, the vision for his campaign, which by extension would be the vision for the country. Let's see here. One of those suggestions was on Rumble. I'm looking at Rumble here. Vicky says, I want to see pensions switch to 401ks to save for their own retirement the way the rest of us do. No more pensions. I'm assuming she means public pensions.
Public sector.
Totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
I think would it be a 401k or a 403? But that type of
Yeah.
self-owned thing. You own your own retirement because pensions were set up when in an economy where you got hired at a job and you were there for 30 years and then you retired. That economy doesn't exist anymore. Pensions are outdated.
Yeah, well, it was one means by which to guarantee income
Right.
basically to somebody. It's like, and of course, retirement age was so much closer to
It was
death
55
back in the day.
Right.
So it's just like, come on.
Yeah, it was 55. I mean, and if a private company wants to do it, hey, good for them, whatever. But the government, I completely agree with that. All right, Scott got some thoughts on it. All right, Scott, what do you want to hear from Donald Trump in his speech tonight, my friend?
Good morning, gentlemen. He's going to have to be carefully crafted, but despite he being pro-life, he's got to somehow let folks know that the left's complaints about, going back to back alley coat hanger abortions isn't the way the law is now. It's back to the states the way our Constitution was set up. I hope he addresses gun rights. Funny, I've not heard the left squawking about gun control since Trump got shot. The issue about the pensions and federal employees, I think he's got to be very careful about talking about wholesale firing folks, because that, I think, full and part-time government employees make up about 23 or 24 million people. And people, despite what they say, they usually vote their pocketbook. So you don't want a bunch of federal employees all of a sudden voting for Biden. He needs to talk in bigger terms about waste and cutting back. And I would just like to make a point about conspiracy theory, Mike. At what point is something not a conspiracy theory? If you take a set of events, and I think Gabe's the rocket scientist, literally.
Yeah, literally.
If you take event 1 times event 2 times event 3 times event 4, every time you add something to it, that number becomes less and less and less. It doesn't become a greater chance, it becomes a less chance. So the fact that all these things have happened in a row, I think lead to the fact that it was a conspiracy.
Yeah, you're talking about the attempt on Donald Trump.
The shooting, yeah.
Got it. Okay, yeah. I think right now just so much chaos. I don't want anybody getting out over their skis because when you're wrong on that, if you're wrong on that, man, does it.
It looks really bad.
It looks really, really, really bad on that. All right, I got to run to a information segment. Hey, Scott, thanks so much for being on the program, man.
Thanks,
really
Scott.
appreciate it.
Yep.
By the way, there were some leftists who immediately tried to do the gun control thing.
There were a
and
couple,
they backed out really fast.
Yeah, they dipped their toe and it got scorched.
Yeah, so the left went, ooh, not now. That's
Yeah.
that's not going to work. We're not going to do that one. Especially with so many leftists who are like, oh, they almost got him. Maybe next time, give him another gun. You know,
seriously,
that kind of stuff. So yeah, they thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
The couple of them tried it, and a few people now have deleted their accounts, and people are getting fired all over the country because libs of TikTok have picked up on the not necessarily the gun reference, but they should have gotten him reference because the left immediately invalidated all of their arguments with that approach.
Now we discussed the whole libs of TikTok canceling people for supporting the shooter also, and there I saw a lot of new discussion basically about that. It's like there were a lot of people expressing their disappointment and trepidation about stepping into the quote unquote cancel culture from the right. And we had that discussion here, and I think we made a decent argument as to why this is not that.
I think some of it is and some of it's not.
Well, sure. There are some where it's like, okay, that's a little too far, but certainly if you're advocating violence, I thought that was the no-go zone in terms of free speech.
Yeah, I mean, the woman at Home Depot, does she matter? The public school teacher, get him fired.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think we got to split that hair just a little bit on there. But yeah, it's the right question to ask, and I'm not afraid to question our side.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It will be the highlight of the Republican National Convention. It's day 4, and former President Trump will accept his party's nomination and then deliver a much-anticipated speech.
The primetime event is being greeted with even more anticipation in light of Saturday's assassination attempt. Trump says he's rewritten his speech to emphasize a call for national unity, telling the Washington Examiner his original text was going to be a humdinger aimed mostly at the policies of President Biden. Trump's family will be there, although his wife Melania and daughter Ivanka are not expected to address the delegates this time. Pennsylvania Republican Party Chairman Lawrence Tabus says he thinks Trump will appeal to our better emotions. Some Republicans have been suggesting the crisis provides a chance to de-escalate the divisive rhetoric that has marked the 2024 campaign. I'm Jennifer King.
Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle gets an earful from a couple of GOP senators at the RNC. Town Hall News correspondent Bob Agnew in Milwaukee.
A video shows a confrontation between Cheadle and GOP Senators Marsha Blackburn and John Barrasso on day 3 of the RNC. It came just days after a sniper came close to assassinating Donald Trump. In the video she posted on X, Blackburn can be heard saying, "This was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers." In a separate video, Senator Barrasso said he and Blackburn went face-to-face with Cheadle. Republicans have been calling for her resignation. Bob Agnew at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee.
All of the damage done by powerful storms from the plains to New England means a massive cleanup job lies ahead. Rome, New York got hit with a tornado the other day. A lot of damage there. The severe weather also blamed for fatalities. It's left hundreds of thousands of utility customers without power. On Wall Street this morning, ahead of the opening bell, the Dow futures down 91 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
See, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-40.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
This is about as good as July gets in St. Louis. Some fantastic weather over the next few days. Mostly sunny today, 82 for your afternoon high. A light north flow keeping humidity low. A beautiful evening as we drop back into the 70s, on our way to an overnight low near 60 tonight. Copy and paste for Friday, mostly sunny, back to 82. The weekend's a little warmer, but still great, 85 both Saturday and Sunday. Next solid chance of rain holds off until early next week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shea.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Mayela Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, here's what's happening here. We've got obviously we're going to dump some news on you around 8:20. Bring you update on what's happening, including J.D. Vance's speech from last night, first official speech as the vice presidential nominee of the Republican Party, not candidate now, nominee of it as well. And Tim Jones joined us a little bit earlier today, and he just had a really kind of good, insightful look at it. Because that was so early in the day, I think we should put that back on. Can we do that still?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do that at 8:35. So in case you missed it, but if you didn't, there's a lot of ground that we covered on that as well. Man, on Rumble at least, I'm watching Rumble, and as usual, Stell and Gabe are watching Facebook and Twitter, and
where we're back, by the way,
back
on Twitter.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and by the way, if you haven't already liked our social media feeds, please do that. Like us or follow or whatever they call it on the platform, and then hit the thumbs up or the heart thing, the little like thing. That makes a big difference. So like on Rumble right now, right at the bottom of the screen, the picture, there's the little thumbs up. Please hit that as well. That makes a lot of difference. People are still commenting in on what they want to hear from Donald Trump tonight. So I think there's a lot of people who have buyer's regret, buyer's remorse.
Yes, absolutely.
With Joe Biden. I'm not talking about hardcore Democrats. They don't really care who's in there as long as they're in control.
Yeah. Any blue, no matter who, right?
That's it.
is
That's
the
it.
philosophy that they have.
And so the messaging, obviously, for something like a convention speech, like Donald Trump's going to do tonight, is to, one, shore up the support on the right that he's going to need. That's one of the things he's going to, which is why I want to hear and see conservatives being told, we're not leaving you behind. You're still a driver here. And because I just don't feel like conservatives are. I think the Republican Party as a whole, and this isn't just a MAGA Trump critique, I think the Republican Party as a whole wants to move away from true conservatism. And so I think conservatives need to flex the muscles a little bit. And I would like to hear Donald Trump say, yes, you are crucial to where we are and where we're going. I'd love to see that. But also, and this is threading the needle, I know it's tough. Do I think he's going to give a hard right-wing spank? Absolutely not. Of course he's not.
Yeah.
Because there's all those people from the just left of center to right center right, who are going to be listening to him, and they're going to be saying, give me a reason to vote against Joe Biden.
Please. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So keep those suggestions coming, because we've got time a little bit later on today to go over what do you want to see and hear from Donald Trump. But speaking of buyer's regret, let me back off just a little bit here.
Okay. All right.
Let's decompress for a second.
Okay. Little Zen moment.
Who was it that did this? YouGov, which they just do surveys of people. Sometimes it's like important stuff.
I kind of like the YouGov
stuff. But they did a survey. They asked 4,700 Americans, what do we regret buying? What are the things that we buy that we absolutely regret?
Based just on purely anecdotal evidence, I'm going to say one of the top answers is going to be a boat.
A vehicle.
Okay. Now, is it a particular vehicle or just
vehicle?
A vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
22% of Americans say they regret buying a vehicle. Have you ever had a vehicle that you've just regretted buying? I had one.
No, mine are. They've survived. You know, they've been okay.
I bought a Buick LeSabre once. I spent more money repairing that thing than I actually spent buying it.
Oh, you gotta love those. It's like I bought this car for $500 and I spent $2,500 making sure that it could run.
Oh man. So that's number 5.
Okay, that's number 5.
What about you, Stella? Anything that you've purchased over the course of your life, like, I really should not have done that?
I got to think about that, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head, except maybe back in the day, a couple of albums I wish I didn't buy.
I got another one.
Yeah.
Timeshare.
A house is on there, is number 8. They said a house. They said that 51% of people overall said they made at least one major purchase they ended up regretting, but 8% of people said buying a particular house was a big mistake. You know, it's funny about the timeshare thing.
Yeah.
Because there's an entire industry now of people trying to get out of timeshare.
Yeah. That's why I said it. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's not timeshare particularly, but a house.
Yeah. I imagine that's more like the Money Pit issue. You know, remember the movie back in the 80s?
Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Tom Hanks.
So funny.
It was hilarious.
But that's the thing is, I don't think they regretted buying a house. It was like that house.
Yeah, the neighborhood or the issues that kind of cropped up. It's this basement floods every day, you know, or whatever.
I felt like a lot of pressure. I'm like, I had to buy now. I got pressured into it.
Yeah.
And then what do you mean? You know, what do you mean there's a hole to the sewer and alligators are in my basement? What are you talking about?
Right.
Kind of stuff.
And speaking of housing, I think probably some folks don't realize what's involved when you have rental property.
Oh gosh.
And
yeah.
He does. He was a landlord.
Yeah.
The headaches will drive you nuts.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't totally say that I regret being a landlord because I learned a lot. And that's one of the things about, you know, starting a business or doing any sort of thing in business. Even when you fail, you kind of win because you learned a lot. But my goodness, I hated being a landlord.
Yeah,
I did.
Just because of the rules and the regulations, and people abuse you.
The people that was one of the big ones. It's like I'm trying to help you. Help me help you. But no.
Okay.
Steal
Why
my
is the-
copper instead.
Yeah, and, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
went
right.
through that on our regular home with copper being stolen.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, you mentioned the issue, and my thoughts always go back to the rent's 60 days behind.
Yeah,
you,
it's 60.
Yeah.
You want to catch up a little bit?
Right. Just something.
Just
Show
give me
good
something.
faith.
Give me something.
And the thing is, I was a renter for most of my life. And if I had something happen and I was, I every time I called a landlord and said, hey, this is what happened, I'm going to be 3 days late until my paycheck comes in. Believe me, because I lived years paycheck to paycheck. I never had a landlord yell and scream at me. What I had them say was, now I can plan for it. Thanks for the heads up.
Mhm.
Let's work it. Let's figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have every reason, every motivation to not scare me into avoiding them.
Yes, absolutely.
They have every motivation to say, yep, keep me up to date. We'll figure it out.
And keep you as a tenant, by the
Right,
way.
exactly.
Turnover is harder than anything else.
Because the last thing you need is to come home and find all your furniture out in the street.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. A vacation. 7% of people said they regret. Yeah.
A particular vacation.
Yeah. A vacation. Now, I will say that I don't know that I've ever regretted a trip or a vacation, but I really regretted the way that Rachel and I booked our honeymoon.
Oh, really?
Because we went through one of these travel services in Scotland instead of just booking it like through an airline, which would have been more expensive. But this one was like, okay, we're going to get you this flight on this airline. Then you're going to get to this airport. Then you go over to this airline. And they bragged about how much money they saved us. But then a thunderstorm moved through that was so bad. Our first flight out got canceled, which means we missed every other one. And we had to rebook the entire thing. The trip to Scotland, we had to rebook. So we paid twice.
Oh my.
Because we didn't just go with the airline and book it on whatever airline.
Right.
Because if you miss a flight, even because of weather, they figure it out for you.
Right.
And so that was bad. House jewelry. 10% of people said they regret buying some kind of jewelry.
Now, are we talking engagement rings?
It just says jewelry, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised if like 90% of the jewelry regret is engagement rings.
It's a little drop-down menu.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. That's the category.
Now,
makes sense.
I am shocked that this one is number 6. I'm shocked that this is not number 1.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it would be? People regret buying.
I don't know. I mean, I figured, both things. I don't know. I can't.
Fitness equipment.
Oh,
because you buy it with the best of intentions and then you don't use it.
Yes.
Invariably, it's sitting in the basement.
Yep.
Yes, that $1,500 treadmill, which is now a clothing holder.
That's right.
It's a
Hangers all over.
Hangers all over it. Now, to be truthful, they don't really regret buying the fitness equipment. They regret being a fatty. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Are you?
Okay, I'm a little kidding. I'm just ribbing you. Exercise, everybody. It's good for your health.
Yeah, there's 26% of people said they regretted buying gifts for somebody else. They wish they'd done something different.
Really?
I thought that's interesting.
Now, it's basically just a particular gift. It's like,
yeah, like I shouldn't have bought them that.
I shouldn't have got my wife that vacuum.
Yes, that's right.
For our anniversary.
But thank goodness.
It's like, it's a washing machine, honey. Like, that's a big purchase. I thought I was going all out.
And that was the nicest iron they had at Target. And she's like, good thing you bought health insurance.
Hey, maybe there's a little crossover, and we're talking about a husband who bought his wife a treadmill.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. But how about this? Top 5 things we buy, immediately regret buying, and then for some dumb reason, buy them again.
Okay. All right. Let me think. Something that it's a repeat buy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably fast food.
Say the Wendy's triple baconator is on the list. Yeah, you buy it, you know you shouldn't. And for me, it's like one of those Taco Bell big potato meat wrap things. I'm like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I just played a baseball game. I'm hungry. It's not going to hurt me. And then the next day, I'm like, what did I do?
Every time you find yourself at White Castle. Yeah. Actually, everyone who finds themselves at White Castle is saying the same thing to themselves. Yeah, it's like, why am I here again?
It makes my taste buds happy, but my colon's so angry. Let's see here. Gym memberships on January 1st. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, and you do it again because like, this year's different.
Yeah. We get to. Why would people buy flights on Spirit Airlines?
It's like, well, that fight last time was so entertaining.
Yeah,
I wanted
that's
to see
right.
what happened.
All right. Anything under a heat lamp at the convenience store.
Oh,
Although
gosh.
the taquitos at I don't buy them anymore, but the taquitos at QT are pretty good.
Hey, anything on the roller at QT
the roller
is solid,
okay.
actually.
Yeah, that's not bad. But don't like 7-Eleven and
Hey,
don't
if
do that.
if it's John Smith's roadside,
Yeah.
a convenience store, you probably want to stay away from the heat lamp.
Tattoo of your boyfriend or girlfriend, don't do that.
Tattoo period.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Mhm. We talked about tattoo regret, didn't we?
Oh my goodness. See, this one says a puppy, but I don't buy that.
Oh no.
I don't think you'll regret it.
No. Well, if you're a decent person,
If you're a good person, you won't regret it.
Because dogs are awesome.
All right, let's dump some news on you, and let's get an update from the RNC right after that. And also the questions on the table. Let's call it the rest of the show. What do you want to hear from Donald Trump tonight?
Yeah.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL.
Before you blow us off.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
Number one for live and local
Conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
news, analysis, and opinion.
Take a look at what happened.
In Butler, Pennsylvania, where former President Trump was speaking on the stage.
Obviously, they're trying to do something to take Donald Trump down.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence.
Verbatim from Trump's Truth Social, it is incredible that such an act can take place in our country.
1019 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
You know, one of the things that people buy that oftentimes they regret is just inferior products to upgrade or renovate or just fix your home. But you're never going to regret buying windows from Window World. See what I did there with the segue from the last segment, guys, because I'm a trained professional here. But it's true. I mean, it's true. You buy them one time and you don't ever have to buy them again. We were just talking about stuff that you buy, you regretted it, but you bought it again anyway. That's not the case with Window World. You buy it one time. First of all, you save money up front. Secondly, you get the top of the line, custom made, American made windows that have a lifetime warranty. So first of all, you never have to worry about buying them again, but you're never going to regret it because of the strength of these windows, the security that they provide, and also the energy efficiency. You've heard me talk about that time and time and time again. And what I want you to do is just give them a chance. Give them a call. 314-993-1800. Obviously, Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. You've got questions. I'm not saying call in and invite them out to your home. I'm saying call in and say, Mike was talking about you on the radio. I've got some questions. What does this mean? Okay. Talk to them 7 days a week, 314-993-1800. Unless it's a major holiday, there's somebody there in the Earth City offices 7 days a week to answer your questions or schedule appointments. Or if you're already a Window World customer and you need some help with something or some maintenance or something that you have a follow-up with, there's somebody there to answer that call for you because they value their customer service so much. Now imagine that they've got a custom made product that is double strength, that has a lifetime warranty, and they would still love to talk to you. Now they don't really have problems with their windows. If there are, they're covered by that lifetime warranty. But over half of the people who call Window World right now at 314-993-1800 here in St. Louis are people who have been told about the windows. So the 70,000 plus customers in St. Louis are so happy with windows, that they actually tell their friends and family about them, about Window World. That's how good these are. That's how passionate Window World's team is about making you really happy with your purchase and doing it right and impressing you. They value those customer service reviews. They value those relationships. They are more worried about their reputation and their place in our community than they are even just whatever the numbers are that they do for your business. And they're very successful because they do a great job and they take care of the people with whom they do business. So lifetime warranty covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. These windows are so durable. They don't just stand behind them. They will bring them out and you can stand on top of them. I'm not kidding. I've done it. If you want to see it, just look up our social media. There's video of me, a 200-pound guy, standing on top of the windows and nothing happens. And by the way, those windows are in somebody's house right now in St. Louis. I don't know who, but somebody's got windows that I actually stood on. Don't worry, they Windexed it. It's fine. But get your free in-home estimate. Let them show you how they are simply the best for less. They also offer 0% financing plans of up to 36 months, making it even easier. Learn more, get your questions answered, get that free, no pressure in-home estimate at 314-993-1800. Going to write that, or I'm going to say that one more time so you can write it down. 314-993-1800. Window World is the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues.
Hey, Columbo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. We've been using pest control services at our home for years, and the results we've had with All Solutions are second to none. So if you're experiencing a pest problem, or more importantly, want to prevent a problem, All Solutions Pest Control are the ones to call. Right now, you can take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's Morning Music Playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Once upon a time.
All right, JD Vance makes it official. He's in for the campaign. That's not a surprise to anybody. But the pomp and circumstance happened at the RNC on Wednesday. And also local news here. Don't get your hopes up. Rumors that Wash U is ending its gender abuse of children. Now, those rumors appear to be false, unfortunately. Don't talk about that. And could a St. Louis product be headed back to the Lou to play football here once again on a much bigger scale? All right, let's dump some news on you.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, this happened in Milwaukee yesterday.
Tonight, Mr. Chairman, I stand here humbled, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude to say I officially accept your nomination to be Vice President of the United States of America.
And that, of course, is Senator J.D. Vance accepting the nomination. It's official. He is on the ticket. He covered a lot of ground, a lot of different issues, but here's another part of what he was talking about regarding the way of doing governance.
Our disagreements actually make us stronger. That's what I've learned in my time in the United States Senate, where sometimes I persuade my colleagues and sometimes they persuade me. And my message to my fellow Americans, those watching from across the country, is shouldn't we be governed by a party that is unafraid to debate ideas and come to the best solution?
Okay, that was an unusual part of a political speech where normally conventional wisdom and all of the consultants tell you never admit you might be wrong about something. You've got to be perfect and angelic and you are messianic on that. So
you are beyond reproach.
I appreciated that part of his speech. There are definitely things I disagree with JD Vance on. I think he's obviously kind of in that, populist mold. He's a little more of a big government guy than I would like to see in the Republican Party and in the conservative side of things. But I really appreciated that aspect of here's how we would approach governing. I think that's something that actually should be supported and taken seriously more than it is.
I thought it was interesting that he always seemed to focus on 4 states that I could pick out. Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And we had talked about it a couple of days ago that if he's going to be someone from the Rust Belt area, and a lot of those are really critical states for Trump to win, especially Pennsylvania and Michigan.
They have to win those.
I thought it was interesting that he really focused on making comments regarding those states.
Yeah, very strategic and relating his own, hillbilly elegy story. That's the book that he wrote that kind of launched him into fame. But yeah, that was very, very clear tactically, which was very smart to do. And that also appeals to people in nearby and related states who are like that. There are people, for instance, in Missouri or Tennessee who could hear him talking about Pennsylvania or Ohio or whatever and go, yeah, I get it. So it was a good speech.
I very
He
much
did a
liked
good
what I
job.
heard.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of America liked what they heard too.
There was one part that unless I missed it, he didn't say anything about East Palestine, Ohio. Not that I was really expecting it, but I thought, you know what? That there's an area
opportunity.
Where Biden and the administration totally missed the whole. I mean, they didn't even get on the boat. They totally missed the boat on that. But he didn't mention anything, so
I don't
that's
remember
okay.
that either. Yeah, that's right. All right, now another speaker there that I think had a pretty good impact here, and that was Peter Navarro, former Trump trade advisor. He literally was let out of federal prison and then flown to Milwaukee to speak.
Kind of amazing.
Kathy said that she heard that the prisoners gave him a standing ovation as he left.
No way.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, there you go.
So he, of course, he was locked up for refusing to comply with a subpoena, for a congressional subpoena on this. And then he went to Milwaukee and he talked about the weaponization of the justice system and law enforcement.
And here's the thing, when politics fails, the investigations and prosecutions begin. They did it to me. They're going to do it to Trump. But hear me out. They've also done it to Catholics, pro-life activists, and parents who are just standing up for the kids at school board meetings.
And relating his experience with all of those things that we saw, not just during COVID, but basically almost anybody who's been trying to dissent in a large way and embarrassing the hard left and the administration. That was a very, I think, impactful statement that a lot of people outside of politics would say, yeah, I've been watching that, and that's really dangerous. I don't like that. Just saying. All right. Here in St. Louis. Now, you may have seen these social media posts, which is why I'm bringing this up. There's some news articles saying that WashU's so-called pediatric, using air quotes here, transgender clinic is shutting down.
Yeah, that's what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
They've been saying that for a little while too.
Yeah, that there was a circulation of some headlines on social media posts saying WashU is shutting it down.
I think we actually celebrated the news that conceivably that was happening. We thought that was a good outcome, even for that tepid bill that came out, allowing potential victims to sue them.
Right. And so they have scaled back because they're worried about being sued.
Right.
So they haven't done any of the surgeries there, but they won't say who they're referring to and what they're referring to, if they're prescribing the chemicals and the puberty blockers and all that. So they have scaled back, but unfortunately, it is not true that clinic is shutting down.
Right.
That's the first step, is we need to get this shut down. The second step is I want to see the people who worked in there. I don't care what their medical degrees are or where they're from. They need to be in prison.
Absolutely.
For what they've done to so many children.
Because you're a Frankensteinian monster.
Yeah. So officials there at the clinic tell Channel 5, which is very friendly to that clinic. If you look at their article, it's incredibly biased in favor of the so-called transgender clinic.
Of course. That's gender affirming care, Mike.
Right.
Right.
Officials tell Channel 5 they have scaled back what they do because of that law, which needs to be expanded, but they are still operating. All right. So some other news came yesterday. I'm just going to put this out there. Okay. So White House officials tell us that President Biden has tested positive for COVID.
After experiencing mild symptoms during his trip to Nevada, the president tested positive for the virus. A statement from the White House press secretary says the president will self-isolate at home in Delaware and will continue to carry out all of his duties fully during that time. Before his infection was announced, Mr. Biden greeted diners at a Las Vegas restaurant. The illness comes as the president faces increasing pressure from Democrats to end his re-election bid. Greg Clugston reporting.
I just texted Joe and I told him I got some extra ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. If you'd like to borrow some from me, I've got some for you.
Yeah, we got some left over.
Just got back on YouTube. And now now we're gone again.
Yeah,
Now we're doing it.
How's that vaccine working out for you? But I think in addition to the idea that he could possibly, use this as an excuse to bow out, or, they could use the long COVID excuse for his brain fog for, all future things. There's also the fact that he could use this excuse to call a lid every day.
Right.
He's like, because they were running out of reasons to isolate him and say, oh yeah, well he's off in Delaware because he's preparing for the debate for 12 days, or what have you. So yeah, it could just be an excuse for him to take a vacation.
Oh goodness. All right. The Battlehawks draft a homegrown player during the UFL's college draft on Wednesday. They used their second pick to select Mizzou's Cody Schrader. He made a real splash this year. Of course, he played his high school ball at Lutheran South. After initially playing for Truman State, Schrader then walked onto Mizzou's team, and last season he led the SEC in rushing yards. He's now actually at rookie camp with the San Francisco 49ers. He is getting a tryout there, but he was not drafted by the NFL, so he's just getting a tryout. If the 49ers do not sign him, then the Battlehawks have the rights to do so in the UFL. All right, let's get an update from Milwaukee from our very own Tim Jones, who's at the RNC Convention literally as we speak. That's coming your way at 8:36.
Once the world was new, our bodies felt the morning dew that greets the brand new day. We couldn't tear ourselves away. I wonder if you
follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL.
Once upon a time in your wildest dream.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
This is about as good as July gets in St. Louis. Some fantastic weather over the next few days. Mostly sunny today, 82 for your afternoon high. A light north flow keeping humidity low. A beautiful evening as we drop back into the 70s, on our way to an overnight low near 60 tonight. Copy and paste for Friday, mostly sunny, back to 82. The weekend's a little warmer, but still great, 85 both Saturday and Sunday. Next solid chance of rain holds off until early next week. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt James.
Fox News commentary.
Is Elon Musk all aboard the Trump train? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best of each of us made better by the best in all of us. It's what Stifel's been doing for over 130 years. And it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management and investment banking firms in the industry. Stifel. It's where success meets success. Start your journey at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It took an assassination attempt on the former president's life to get several public figures to come out of the conservative closet. Some of the folks have been leaning Trump for a while, leaving Easter eggs hinting at their support. Elon Musk is one of those people, and now he's putting his money where his mouth is, allegedly. Not only has Elon Musk endorsed Donald Trump, reports suggest he's also vowed to donate a staggering $45 million per month to the pro-Trump America PAC. This PAC, started by some of Musk's wealthy friends, has already spent $6.6 million on behalf of the former president. And if reports about Musk are true, the war chest is about to grow a lot. America PAC focuses on the effort to register Republican voters and stress the importance of early and mail-in votes. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world right now, so the Trump train just got a whole lot richer. Welcome aboard, Mr. Musk. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. STLCityGOP.com or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Digging without having your underground utilities marked is like driving with your eyes closed. It's dangerous and irresponsible. Before you break ground, contact Missouri 811 online or simply call 811 to request a utility locate 3 working days before starting. Missouri 811 will coordinate with the utility companies who will clearly mark their lines so you can avoid the hazards. Requesting a locate is smart, and it's the law. Safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com. News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
At 17, we fell in love.
All right, Tim Jones, afternoon host extraordinaire here on News Talk STL, is at the convention. He's in Wisconsin, and we were able to catch up with Tim and get an update from him. And so it's great to check in with Tim. And, you know, here's what Tim had to say. Great to talk to him again.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Gabe Sell. Yeah, I am live on the ground here in Milwaukee. Actually, the hotel that it's not the Trump hotel, but it's the hotel that President Trump is staying at is in sight. We are heading to the Faith and Freedom Coalition breakfast this morning, which I believe is featuring Tucker Carlson. So that'll be an overflow, max capacity crowd like everything here. Guys, the atmosphere here is absolutely electric, and you are correct. The Republican Party is doing something that it usually does not do too well because we're such geeky policy wonks. They are telling excellent stories about why their policies work for the American people. That is why this has been such a successful convention. They have had a theme every single night. They have stuck to that theme every single night, and it has been an extraordinary experience indeed. I've been to several conventions. By far, this has been the most interesting. It's been the most informative. It's been the most exciting and exhilarating. The energy on the convention floor is unbelievable. It's just, it's really remarkable. And the convention floor last night, it was nearly impassable. There were so many people down there. Congressman Eric Burlison, of course, you all saw me with him last night. Mm-hmm. Congressman Jason Smith was just right to our left in that picture. Congressman Mark Alford was here as well. Of course, the Missouri delegation. Everyone's all smiles and pink fluffy unicorns here in Milwaukee.
And I saw a lot of people who made up their own ear pillows to wear it on their ear like Donald Trump has. I can't decide whether that's one of the funniest things or one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Well, it's meme worthy,
yeah.
You guys all said earlier, and you know, it's been as you guys were talking about yesterday. I was listening to you guys as I was heading to the airport yesterday. The storytelling by average, what we call average, you know, like we're average, right? Everyday Americans, the EDAs, they're calling them, the everyday American stories. Some of those speeches have been more exhilarating, exciting, and uplifting than some of the primetime speeches. Now, they've all been great. They've all been informative, but some of those speeches have been amazing. And guys, the highlight of last night, of course, J.D. Vance accepting the vice presidential nomination, telling his story, which is remarkable. His story is the American dream. And that's why CNN is absolutely flipping out and calling him a MAGA extremist. I'm still trying to figure out what speech they watched because it was a different one than what we saw last night. But one of the highlights of the night last night was when Don Jr.'s 17-year-old daughter took to the main stage, and it seemed to be maybe not entirely planned. I'm sure the family planned on it, but he just brought her up and she delivered some of the best remarks, humanizing Donald Trump as the best grandfather she could ever have. And that's been one of the biggest stories of this week. Everything about the Republican Party has been humanized, has been directed to Americans out here in what we call flyover country. That this contrast has not necessarily been just with the Republicans and Democrats. It's been with the elitists, the coastal elites that want to govern us and tell us everything to do while they're destroying us with the fentanyl trade and the sex trafficking and the open borders and the horrible policies both at home and abroad versus what the Republican Party was under Donald Trump barely 3.5 years ago when our land truly was not a cliche. It was becoming great again. It was a time of peace and prosperity. And that's why CNN and MSDNC are absolutely losing their minds.
Good morning, Tim. Stal here. By the way, the 98-year-old World War II veteran was very moving. That was an awesome portion of the evening, as I'm sure you would agree. Yes. And another poignant moment was the names being read for the men and women who were killed in Afghanistan, the 13, and then having everyone shout out their names. Tell us a little bit about that and what you also felt emotionally with some of the other everyday American stories.
Yep. So the theme, guys, last night, as I said, there's been a theme every single night. And even though the themes are big and broad and it allows the speakers a lot of latitude, everyone remains focused within those central tenets. So last night was Make America Strong Again. And who does not agree that we are a weaker nation now in just about every aspect than we were under Donald Trump? I mean, if you listen carefully to the left-wing liberal corporate national media news networks, if you listen to the top Democrats, guys, what do they talk about as is their message or their plan or what they accomplished over the last 3 years? They don't. They say elect Republicans and you'll lose reproductive justice, whatever that means. And they're threats to democracy. They don't talk about their policies because they can't, because they've been failures. So last night was everything that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done to this country and what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance will do to this country to repair it once again with the assistance cell of all of those great Americans that came to the stage. They've made it very clear that Donald Trump is, yes, he's an extremely popular person. Yes, he is a tour de force. Yes, he is a bit of a cult of personality. But this is not a cultist hero kind of thing. We're all in this together has been the theme. And bringing up everyone from, the 17-year-old granddaughter who has her entire life ahead of her, and Lord knows what that young Trump will do with her life, to the 98-year-old World War II veteran. It's like we're all in this together. Yes, Donald Trump's going to be the leader, but we're all in this together. We all have a part to play. That has been the message this week, that we're all part of this. There's no elitism. There's no, well, I've got what I've got and you've got what you've got. I mean, that's why they call Donald Trump the blue collar billionaire. And that's something that the Republicans have always had a really tough time. I'll be critical on them. Usually their conventions are very policy wonky and sterile. And I like the policy stuff. But what they've always missed is the empathy and the emotion, right? The Democrats use empathy and emotion in a fallacious way, right? They never mean what they say. The opposite of what they say is always true, as Vic Porcelli says. But in this convention, you've heard real Americans telling real stories about the problems and the chaos that the Biden administration has caused versus, again, the peace and prosperity and security we had under Donald Trump. So last night, it was about securing the border. It was about peace through strength. There were many Reagan-esque moments last night. J.D. Vance said it best. He goes, we don't need to be running around globetrotting all over the planet. But when we do speak, we should speak very loudly, and everyone should take note and, basically sit the F down, when we get ourselves involved in something that is a horrible situation around the world. So I think that's why Democrats who are in complete disarray, rumors, of course, circulating yesterday that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are telling Joe Biden to step down. Will he? Won't he? We don't know. So while they're having a civil war and are completely dysfunctional, the Republicans at least appear to the international world stage at this moment to be very united.
All right, I know that Gabe's got something for you, Tim. I was half expecting the 98-year-old veteran at some point to refer to that old guy, Joe Biden.
That would have been classic.
Good morning, Tim. Gabe here. So unity is actually the topic of the question that I had. There's been a lot of discussion about the growing fractures between maybe sort of the populist right and the establishment right and the conservatives, and sort of the new right that seems to be growing, popularized by kind of the walkaway style people like your Amber Roses of the world. Were you sensing any division as you're kind of perusing the area, or is unity the actual solid message, and that's the feeling that's pervading the convention.
Well, look, Gabe, you've put your finger on the pulse of some of the feelings rather well. The Republican Party is also a gigantic family, and when the bigger the family, the more controversies you're going to have, right? What family doesn't have their own set of drama, right? My family's got it, your family's got it, every family's got it. So the bigger the family, the more controversies you're going to have, and some of the conflicts as well. I think people are rightly skeptical about some of these things. Look, was I a big fan of having the Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, take the main stage at the GOP? Yeah. Now, what do I take out of that messaging? What I take out of that messaging is I want more of the rank and file to vote for President Trump, J.D. Vance, and Republicans all over the country. But I don't want the Republican Party adopting any of the principles or the philosophies of the leadership of the union. The leadership of the unions needs to change. The Republican Party does not need to change to satisfy the leadership of the big union thugs, right? I mean, that's kind of where we need to go. And so, yeah, we're going to have some of those battles. We're going to have some of those conflicts. But if we do it civilly and have debate about it, what's wrong with that, right? Not all of the founding fathers and mothers agreed with each other on how we were going to form this country in the first place. And so because we live in a free society, and Mike talks about this all the time, the dangers of having, absolute free speech are the dangers of having absolute free speech, right? I mean, there comes responsibility with that as well. So, yeah, Gabe, there is a lot of those discussions. There's a lot of people like, there's some head scratchers with some of the folks that have been up there with some of the messaging. But on the other hand, how about the fact, turn it around? How about the fact that those people felt confident and comfortable enough to come and speak? Sean O'Brien was kind of putting himself at risk. Amber Rose putting herself at risk. They're telling the world, I'm here supporting the Republicans this year. And that's where you go, okay, we're going to try to put our differences aside. What I always say is this: get elected first. Then you can decide how you're going to govern. The Democrats are so good at that. The Republicans need to be as well. Put out your basic tenets, stick as much as possible to your core principles, but you got to win elections. You got to win the hearts and minds of the people and get elected before you can start debating about, which 300-page bill you're going to pass up on Capitol Hill.
All right. And Tim, obviously you're going to be on live this afternoon on your show, or are you doing convention stuff today?
Yes, I'm going to be remote from here. Chris and Joey will be in the studio. I will have the aforementioned Congressman Eric Burleson, one of the freshest, most exciting faces in Congress. We're extremely good friends. I'm so proud of my good friend Eric Burleson. We're going to have him on the show tonight. And, hopefully another one of our very good friends, Dr. Bob Otter, who I full-throatedly endorse for the 3rd Congressional District. I hope that Dr. Bob will be at the next convention with Burleson, and we'll all have a grand old time.
All right. I know we're going to get into this more in future days and times and weeks, but I love what you just said regarding, you're not wild about having the union thug boss up there, and, that they need to change, and that you don't want to see the Republicans, take on that, that sort of approach to things. Would you mind mentioning that to Josh Hawley at some point? I'm just going to leave it at that.
He's an eclectic guy. How about we just say that for now? We can have that discussion debate later.
Yeah, we'll do that exactly. All right, Tim Jones going to be on with Chris Harps from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock right here on News Talk STL. All right, Tim, have a great time at the breakfast. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
At 17, we fell in love. High school sweethearts. Love was so brand new.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
No matter how big the event, Capriotti's can take care of all of your business or personal catering needs. With party trays, box lunches, a meatball bar, shareable salads, plus desserts and sides. Easy ordering is available via the Capriotti's app. Check it all out at capriottis.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone
an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on the show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I don't know what in the history of mankind the dumbest headline is.
Okay.
By a news outlet, but I may have found a contender for it.
Okay. All right. I'm excited.
I'll tell you about that here in just a second. Looks like we've got somebody who's got a thought on something
I think so.
we bought that you regret. So, Jeff, hang on a second here. Just got an update here. According to some published reports, 2 senior campaign officials are confirming to NBC News that Terry Bollea is going to be speaking tonight.
Terry Bollea?
Oh, you would know him better as Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Is going to be speaking at the RNC tonight, brother.
Oh yeah, brother.
No. That was that.
Oh yeah,
Randy
sorry,
Savage.
that's Randy Savage. Sorry,
No.
I get them mixed up in my head for some reason. They're both screaming at me, so I get the voices mixed.
That's
up.
right. So according to published reports, Hulk Hogan is speaking tonight at the RNC convention just ahead of President Trump accepting the nomination.
That kind of sounds awesome. Now, the other thing I'm waiting for is 50 Cent to provide the walkout music, for Trump because he's a fan.
Oh
Also.
my goodness. Well, somebody. You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about that joke that you showed me on. On social media the other day.
Yeah.
Did you remember that one you were talking about?
Oh, which one?
No, it was the one. It was a rapper, or I don't remember. It was a black comedian or a rapper who's made a joke, and it was just awful. It's like I could never make that joke, and I felt horrible even thinking about. Do you remember which one I'm talking about?
I think I do.
He said, he said Donald Trump has 3 baby mamas.
Yes.
34 felonies.
Yeah.
And he's been shot.
Yeah, exactly. Is he my uncle?
Or he said, and then he went on to, he goes, no, that's the real first black president.
Exactly.
And I'm like, come on, don't do that. Is it my uncle?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was a black guy, so he was.
I'm like,
he was expounding. It's comedy. It's comedy.
I know. I'm like, come on, don't. All right. Hey, Jeff, thanks for hanging on, man. You're on News Talk STL. What'd you buy that you regret?
Was a college degree anywhere on that list?
You know what? It was not, but it should be for a lot of people. That's a great one.
Absolutely, man.
Without a doubt.
Now, what did you get yours in that you're regretting, or did we lose him?
We lose him.
I think
we lost him.
Oh, okay.
That great point.
Oh man, seriously, there are a lot of people who are like, "Why did I buy this stupid thing?"
No, exactly. I mean, and my wife is a university professor. She has a vested interest in everybody trying to go to higher education, and she will be the first one to tell you that it is ridiculous that we're trying to push so many people into a 4-year college.
Yeah.
And she's like, we don't need more philosophers.
Mhm.
And she's a philosopher. She goes, we don't need more of them. We don't need more something blank studies. Fill in the blank for what study is. We need more people who know how to do tech and plumbing and electrical work and
HVAC
coding
and all this.
HVAC. And she goes, that's what we need in the economy. We don't need more eggheads.
Seriously, I can't get an appointment with these guys because they're so busy.
Right. Exactly.
Charlie Kirk's been harping on that for the last couple of years.
Oh,
He
yeah,
put
absolutely.
that book out that actually zeroes in on exactly that issue.
Yeah,
so
we're
you're right.
we're pushing people into that. Yeah. So
Mm.
Jeff was 100% right about that. All right. You want to hear maybe the dumbest headline ever?
Okay, yes, I definitely want to hear this.
And this was published by The Hill. So we're not talking one of these fringe websites on the far left or the far right.
And we've heard some doozies.
Yeah.
too.
we've heard-
So.
Now, I mean, granted, The Hill is definitely left of center.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's looked at as a DC insider news outlet,
Mhm.
thehill.com.
They should know what they're doing.
I'm not kidding this. Okay, I'm going to leave a blank at the very beginning. It's blank. This person says violence is not the way after Trump shooting.
Okay, a particular person who says violence is not the way.
Says violence is not the way after the Trump shooting. This is the headline from The Hill. Okay, let me read the entire headline for you now.
Yeah, please.
I swear to God, I am not making this up. John Hinckley Jr. says violence is not the way after Trump shooting.
Oh my!
Oh, come on!
Oh my!
I am
Wait a
not
minute.
making
Hold on.
that up.
Hold on. Wait. Say that again.
John Hinckley Jr. says violence is not the way after Trump shooting. Wow. So somehow somebody thought it was a good idea to do a story on this. Who would have an insightful opinion on this? How about the guy who tried to kill Ronald Reagan? And they actually used him as a source in the story, and that's the headline.
Now, to be fair, the people who fail very spectacularly are often very good at providing the advice. Don't do what I did because it was bad.
Yeah.
To be fair. Right. Now, did he was he released recently?
Yeah, which ticks me off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which ticks me off.
If you try to kill a president, you should be under the jail.
Right. Now remember, and this is why, I actually agree with the media when they're saying we don't know what the motivations were for the guy who tried to kill Donald Trump. Okay. Mm-hmm. We look at what it appears to be.
We can make some assumptions.
But remember, John Hinckley Jr. was trying to impress Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with Republican or Democrat or anything like that.
He was just cray.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, and people will say, well, he was mentally ill. That's why they couldn't try him. And Ronald Reagan has passed away many years ago. He's not a threat. Let him out. They would do that if he'd tried to shoot anybody else. I'm like, but he didn't try to shoot anybody else. He tried to assassinate the leader of our country, the elected leader. He tried to kill the office. So he should still be in prison for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
And definitely not being quoted in the news.
Looking for a way to support our nation's heroes? Vet Jobs has been helping military veterans, service members, and their spouses find employment for over 20 years. Join them at the ballpark on Sunday, July 28th, as the Cards take on the Washington Nationals for the Salute the Services game. A portion of every ticket sold through Vet Jobs will go towards their mission of securing jobs for our brave veterans. Make a difference in the lives of those who have served our country. Learn more and get tickets at newstalkstl.com/vetjobs.
Old man winter in the rearview mirror. Warmer weather here. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service. 636-37